Welcome to the new Chess24 playing experience. Play in light mode or dark mode. Choose from a range of time controls or create a custom game. And get paired with players from around the world, fast. Enjoy a polished playing experience while making moves on a fresh, responsive board to claim your victories. Train and improve with over 80,000 puzzles. And that's not all. Download now and discover what more you can enjoy in our brand new app.
Okay, so let's send a challenge.
Here is challenging me. Nice graphics, easy to see. What are you thinking about? You're looking how it can be the most painful?
Exactly. Okay, fine.
So that I give up a phone. He wants to be even rude.
Hi and welcome everybody.
Hello everyone.
Hello everyone.
Over 200 mini videos that our Chessable team edited together, synced with our move trainer, and made it a seamless learning experience.
Today, more than ever, when the world comes together to create a better tomorrow.
It's going to be magic.
La magie. Magic. Magic with music.
With architecture.
With colors.
Magic with celebration.
With your safety.
From here.
There.
And everywhere.
For 6 whole months, day and night.
Join the making of a new world, starting October 1st.
Hello and welcome everybody in the deep dive broadcast. I'm here in Dubai. I'm Judit Polgar, and in Dubai Expo, chess is exploding, especially after yesterday's game, Game 6, which was the longest game, 136 moves in history of World Championship matches. And please welcome Anish Giri, the Super Grandmaster, joining me again. Welcome back. And we are going to discover what is going to be happening today.
Thank you. Happy to join again.
So you were following the game closely also. What do you think? What is your first impression? What was the story of yesterday?
Yeah, it was quite a game. I mean, not only was it long, but also with lots of twists and turns. It was not one of those games when Magnus was pressing from the start and squeezing something. It was lots of ups and downs. Jan was taking risks and Magnus too. And at some point, Magnus had a very complicated winning opportunity. Then Jan had an opportunity to have an advantage. And it was going back and forth. Even after time control, there were still many twists. So very special game. And, you know, for the spectators, for the fans, well, unless you're a fan of Jan, the fact that it was a resulting game at the end of the day, it's probably a good thing.
Yesterday, it was so interesting when Magnus arrived to the game. First of all, he was first to arrive and sit down to the board. And I had the feeling that he was extremely focused and he was extremely determined to play, ready to play a very long game. And I didn't think that he has a great, fantastic winning preparation. And he plays 3G3. And in move 11, Nepo played this kind of aggressive, very nice move B5, where it was clear for us that Jan also is ready to fight and ready to take some risks already in Game 6.
Yeah, I watched a video of Vladimir Kramnik about the Catalan once, and he was pointing out that Black's main issue is the c8 bishop that has to be developed to b7. So in that sense, Jan did the right thing, developed the bishop to b7, neutralizing the Catalan bishop on g2. So b5 was certainly a decent idea of his, and down the line, he was doing quite well, I think, at various points, and he could have played a bit more safe here and there. I think at some point he was feeling that he doesn't run much risk and he can press a little bit, but at the end of the day, it did backfire.
Yes, this was actually quite a few moments in the game, right? That when Jan showed that he's ready for more. He doesn't want to make just a draw. He wants to open up a little bit the game, giving options, alternatives. For example, one of the critical moments, I think it was when with what to capture the bishop on f6, when he ruined his pawn structure without exchanging the queens. That was also a sign where Nepo had the self-confidence, it seems.
Yes, though as a player, who's also, as you probably also know, I don't know if you had that. I personally have that myself. Like sometimes you try to play for a winner position, which is not really better for whatever reason. And then there's a constant struggle with, choosing between the safe option and non-safe option. And then at the end of the day, if the opponent plays well, at some point you have to cut the knot and go for the safe option at some point. Because if you keep insisting and the opponent keeps playing well and you are not better, at some point it will backfire. And this is kind of what happened, though. To be fair, the game had so many twists that at some point Magnus allowed Jan to capture the b4 pawn, and it was very, very unclear why Jan didn't. Because even if he doesn't see the follow-up, still, even if you don't see the good follow-up, which gives you advantage, still you are fine. So there was very little. Like maybe it was a blind spot. Maybe he didn't see it's hanging. Though Jan is so tactically sharp, maybe he somehow believed Magnus, but. The moment when he played queen d5 instead of bishop takes b4, it was a very mysterious moment, because queen d5 doesn't even create a threat as such. So it was a little bit of a strange moment there. Of course, the pressure, the time trouble, and all of that. We can point that out. I think we're speaking move 36.
36. So maybe we can show it in the meantime. There were really ups and downs in this game, right?
Yeah, that's the moment I was talking about. Bishop takes b4. A very basic tactic for a player of Jan's caliber, using the pin on the rook. So nothing out of ordinary. And the move queen d5 instead, does it even create a threat, really? Maybe it creates a threat of e4, sort of, because knight b2 you have queen b3. But after rook d2, yeah, quite obviously, or I don't know how obviously, but I don't quite understand that. And then after queen b3, rook a2, he's done this thing of e4, which I think is this is the kind of mistake that a player like Fabiano, for example, never does. And see, in the time trouble, you don't know how the things will pan out. You cannot calculate anything. But what you do know is that if you trade bishop for a knight, which is very likely to happen, the bishop takes b4, let's say, rook d2, queen d3, rook takes b4, you know that this scenario is very likely, rook a4, let's say queen f1, rook takes a3, and this is a horrible scenario for black. It's very sad, but you know that that is the worst case scenario you have. And if your pawn is still on e5, probably it's still holdable. While if your pawn is on e4, without f5, f4 resource, you know that your pawns are now so weak, this is going to be lost. So it is a sort of a huge strategic risk that you really hesitate to take. Some players hesitate to take, let me put it that way. It could be that e4 is the best move for all we know. It wasn't. It was a losing move, actually, but it could have been a good move. Nobody had the time to calculate anything. But it's a very, very responsible decision, very risky decision, and one that some players wouldn't have taken, just simply on general grounds. So some.
I consider that at this point, for example, so what we were talking previously, that b5 was kind of a a nice energetic move, and then later on, which we highlighted that here, after bishop f6, after queen f6, probably the game would have been drawn because it would be simplified. That's what my understanding is. What do you think?
Yeah, of course, there is this classical game of knight on d3 against the bishop, I think, on e7. Some Ribley or Anderson or both. There were a bunch of these games, of course, in the past where this endgames with the gf, and then you trade the bishops, you trade the knights, and somehow you have knight on d3 against the bishop, usually on e7. Somehow that endgame was won by white back in the day. Maybe it was Karpov. I mean, I have them all together because they were all playing these structures, the Anderson, Ribley, and Karpov. I don't even remember who against whom it was. But you have those, so there could be that black is also slightly worried to have that. There is a ghost of that, let's say. But first of all, in reality, these endgames nowadays are not as bad as people thought they were. I saw Karakin hold such against Magnus in the first game of the match in his match, which was 2016. And besides, you have bishop on b6, which is probably the reason why black is doing so comfortably here. The bishop is much better than on e7, I suspect.
Well, there were tons of different moments in this game. For me, it was kind of strange that Jan played rook a8, and he went into this whole concept where white has two rooks and against the queen. Of course, it was still okay for black. But
I wanted to ask about that because don't you think that what he missed was the take, queen d5? He was just calculating a forced line, I think he thought. Before a4, e3, bishop b2. I think he planned bishop b2, rook b2, queen d3. Don't you think that he missed the Magnus's reply here? Oh, sorry, rook c5. I forgot rook c5. First rook c5. This is just losing forward. Bishop b2, rook c5. I think bishop b2, rook c5 he still had seen. Queen d6. Rook b2, and now queen d3. I think he missed the reply here because it's not that obvious.
Which is?
Yes, because if you go rook a2, of course, the queen b1 wins. So it's rook b to c2. And this is the kind of move that you can miss from 5 moves ahead, from 5 moves before, let's say. Yeah. And even here, of course, you just take on a3, rook b5. And now the cleanest way is queen a1 check. Queen b3 is tempting, but the cleanest is queen a1, king g2, queen b1. And now you can combine the threat of a pawn and queen e4 check perpetual. So this is a very easy path to draw. So you cannot say rook c8 was such a big risk, but it was here, I think, on move 29 that after e3.
It was not. I'm not saying it was a huge risk, but they're already after here, like with the different material balance with two rooks against queen, you can always go wrong.
For sure,
you have to make decisions.
Especially if you played for a win, for sure. Especially if you played for a win with black. That's how you can lose this position, definitely.
And I think Magnus in this game showed so well that he was ready to fight and he was ready to make moves where he gives opportunity for black to make mistakes. For example, I really love the move h4, and after that h5 was probably not the best move, and king h2. Like, it showed for me how Magnus has his patience and he wants to give the opportunity for the opponent to...
Yes, exactly, with a low time. And also after bishop b2, rook c5, queen d6. Okay, he didn't see this rook c2 line, which is hard, but he could have gone rook takes b2 if he wants to draw.
But it's not only that he didn't see this move. None of them saw this.
But it's very complicated, I think. Knight f4, queen b4, rook d7, e5. This line is very...
Yeah,
e5.
But objectively it's winning, right?
It was quite hard. You have to go knight h5 here, king g6, and rook c6. And this is not... something that is so obvious. And after king h5, rook f6, you have to realize that you are completely winning for some reason. I mean, not for some reason, the king is just mated, but it's not obvious. I mean, you have a queen and bishop against two rooks and the two connected pawns for all it's worth. And it's not like it's mate in 2 yet. It's some kind of mate in, I don't know, 10. It's not immediately obvious, you would think. So he missed that.
But isn't it after queen b4, rook d8 and rook c8?
I think rook d8 was still holding for black after... I believe it was f5. I think this was. Maybe. I think rook d8 was not winning. It was also possible, but it was not. This was actually holding for black. But rook d1 was what I meant to say anyway. Rook d1 is playing for a win because he could have gone rook takes b2, which was much more clean if you want to just make a draw. And this is kind of very ambitious, of course.
No, but it was very clear for Magnus, I think, that he was playing for a win. But at this point of the game, with the idea of queen c2 and knight f4. It shows exactly how complicated it can be in a second with this material set up in the position. But okay, they had many different moments. What was the moment for you that you realized, or you had the feeling Magnus is going to be winning this game?
Yeah, to be fair, it was basically both playing for a win, is how I would see that phase. But then, okay, after time control, well, one huge mistake, of course, was, although 52 queen e4 was, of course, very impractical in hindsight, because 52 queen e4, yeah?
Which move is it?
52. Because Magnus is kind of struggling to find a plan, I believe. If you don't go queen e4, let's say you just make some waiting move. Although it's not pleasant for black to wait. Yeah, I can imagine that you are worried the knight will somehow reroute somewhere. I don't know where. Knight c2 is not a threat because of bishop e5, but maybe knight f3, e1, g2, f4, e2 again, then some rook d1. I don't know. Things can go wrong for sure. But queen e4, yeah, now he has to suffer. After rook a3, white no longer has to deal with the a pawn. And then...
But did you think already that he can win the game?
So first, when we got the position after rook takes f7, I thought it's for sure win for white, given the time situation. Rook takes f7 was the move. Yeah, I thought this is like, yeah, I thought this is unplayable. But then I kind of realized that Magnus is struggling to make progress because it's very hard to make. Like, it looks so pretty, but to make progress is hard. And by the time he went h4, I thought it's probably already holding because I saw the king being exposed after move 113. Yeah, like I realized that pushing the pawns forward exposes your king, and I kind of thought like, okay, it's probably you push the pawns too high, then you get too many checks, and then you get some perpetual, and okay, that's it. But Magnus, he found this incredible regroup with knight to g3, and that was move 118 that was crucial. I guess that's where it was mostly decided.
Yeah, but it was interesting that the 130th move was the last moment when Jan could be still holding objectively the position, right?
Yeah, but at that point, Magnus has achieved this knight on g3. That's very, very important, apparently, because the thing is, normally knight is best in the center of the board, but in this position, somehow knight on g3 is doing really, really well. It covers h1, h5, f1 squares. Rook on d5 covers a bunch of others, and then king on g4 is doing very well. Sometimes knight h5, knight f6, and the main idea of white here, as I understand it, is that you need to hide the king, and you hide it in front of your pieces. And the final position is very instructive because the final position, he is bringing his king to g8, and there's just nothing you can do. And that's very beautiful. Like with the king on g8, this is the combination of white's concept. There is nothing you can do. Just there's not a single check.
Well, what was the longest game you've played?
I think it was long. Let me just check that game. I lost to Karakin once. It was insane, actually.
I found it also quite amazing that in the move 130th, it was still a draw, but this is how it is nowadays when we have computers and databases, and this is the table base, which you can see yourself on the internet. Up to 7 pieces, you can enter any position into the table base, and it will give you exactly in how many moves it's going to be made. So you set up a position. At one point in this game, we were told that it was mate in 47, which is obviously is not a human sentence. But even though that in the move 130, it was still objectively a draw, practically it was almost for sure, I think, that Magnus will have the strengths and the patience to win the game. The game already finished today because it was after midnight, nearly half an hour after midnight, the game was finished. And also the expo itself, it was so silent and it was almost closing up. So there were very few
the
people.
timing was incredible. Yeah, I mean, 11:30 even past 12, like the timing is insane. Like if you think about it, the time control and the starting time, and then afterwards they have the press conference, and the next day they have to play. That sounds like so unprofessional in a way, right? But okay, of course.
Well, it's not next day; it's today. So
exactly,
Magnus won already a game today, and now just shortly he's going to be playing with you on the second game of today.
By the way, just to flex a little bit. So that game I lost it. I remember because it's very painful. It's 131 moves, but I had a game 172 moves. Probably my longest, 172, and I was trying to beat Dingliren It was an epic endgame, actually. It was 2 rooks and bishop against 2 rooks. And it was winning, but I messed up, and then it became rook, bishop against rook. And that was already a draw. So she defended very well. So it was kind of an epic. I think 172 must be my record.
So we see the playing hall, the fish tank, full of journalists over there. Of course, everybody's extremely excited. What is it going to be that we're going to see today in the opening? What do you think? What are you expecting for game 7 in the opening wise? Because so far, Jan played e4 in every game. We had Rai Lopez in every game. Every game, Magnus played some sideline, we can say, and he was not so successful, especially in game 5.
Sorry, not successful was who?
Well, well, Magnus was not so successful
yes,
in his opening,
Magnus.
especially in game 5. He was suffering quite a bit, right?
Yeah, yes and no. On one hand, you could say that maybe this type of position fits Magnus more than Jan, because the same thing happened with the Rossolimo in the World Championship match against Caruana. That somehow Carlsen was not equalizing from the opening, but at some point Caruana gave up because he didn't like the type of position. So it's kind of hard to say if the engine advantage is actually advantage that the player feels behind the board. But I think that they will still repeat today. I think that just stick to the plan for 2 more games and then have a rest day for Jan, and then try to go all in after that rest day. And that's would have been a logical strategy, because now he's probably tired and he has the negative emotions, while Magnus got that win boost, energy boost from winning. So I guess if I were Jan, I don't know if I were, although I know myself, I would be completely angry and I would try to come back as well. So there is this conflict, yeah.
So do you think, knowing yourself in such a situation, of course, it's very hard to put ourselves in this situation because it's a world championship match. And of course, match has a completely different atmosphere and spirit than a tournament, because every point, every full point has a double value, right? Because Magnus did take the lead. What do you think, what Jan has in his mind after yesterday's game? Is he want to do something very solid, or is he ready with the same spirit as yesterday with Black, that he wants to sharpen out things if he has the opportunity to choose between a more solid or a little bit more aggressive, keeping the game? He wants to go for it, or the old Soviet method that after a loss, you should be making a draw?
Well, the problem with just making a draw is that you have a game tomorrow as well, which is Black, where you cannot force a draw anymore. So, I mean, just going for a draw is a little bit too much, but I guess he should probably take it a little bit easy, but if he will, I don't know. And maybe he shouldn't, you know, you don't get so many chances to come back. Magnus is also tired. Maybe today is the best moment to strike. We'll see, hard to say.
So let's see what we have on the board. 2 knight f3, knight c6.
Yeah, the same thing actually, Actually, they stick to the plan. That's what I presumed as well. And also because the plan worked out, as you mentioned. It worked out previously, so why not? But I think now Magnus will stop kidding around with this rook b8, rook e8. It's not time for that. It's time to equalize in the most rough way. It's time to, you know, show.
What you want to say, that the strategy is changing for him, and now he's not want to play some all kind of sidelines and interesting, unusual things, but he's going to be going for the main line.
Yeah, I think there's no point anymore for Magnus. I think it's time to repeat your files, you know, time to go for the main equalizers and not kid around. And Magnus, he can do this. Sometimes he goes for the equalizers. We'll see. I guess a4 once again, maybe not. Let's see.
Let's see what after castle going to be the move. h3, d3, a4, or d4. a4 is on the board, repetition.
Yeah, a4. What did he play?
Last time he played rook b8 here.
Yeah.
And he's repeating it.
Yeah, actually, maybe he believes rook b8 is that equalizer, you know, because the position he had, he only landed in trouble because of knight e7 g6 maneuver, if you remember.
Yes, exactly.
If he would have traded the bishops right away with bishop d7 queen c8, my engine was agreeing that the advantage is going to be neutralized. So actually there was no reason to switch, objectively speaking. And given that position where draws are so high is fine for Magnus, now that he's up on the score, he's fine with repeating it. Maybe rook b8 is his main weapon. Maybe it's just what the team believes is the best. And it's a small surprise, because when you keep jumping, when you stop jumping, it's a surprise.
And especially now it's a little surprise, but it's very clear that Magnus's mindset and probably his team, I mean, Magnus normally, if he doesn't want to provoke things, he shouldn't be losing with black or white, right? But now Magnus will really provoke Jan, I think, which means that if there is a huge provocation and Jan will be playing g4 and stuff like that, I mean, the game will be for free result. Obviously, for Jan to win a game, he will have to make some risk. And now we are talking only about equalizing the match.
Yes, interestingly, Jan deviates with d3, no longer c3. Again, it's one thing when you have a slightly better position that opponent doesn't expect, and it's the other when you have a slightly better position that the opponent has already studied in great detail. And he has experience of playing it once, suffering already once. He knows what you can do wrong. So repeating the c3 before d3 thing was a little too timid. Instead, Jan goes for d3. Now the advantage is that the b pawns are on the board, but as you mentioned before, the c4 and a4 square are now controlled. So
what is black going to be playing? Bishop e6 is one of the most natural moves to follow up with.
Yeah, that's one way, but
I guess h6.
Yes, h6, rook e8, or rook e8, I don't know which order. Rook e8, h6, bishop f8 plan is also very sensible. Then you want to not double your pawns on e6. You want to recapture with the rook, and maybe you want to bring the knight as always across to g6. That's also a thing, of course.
Well, of course, from now on, I think Magnus will be more careful on move maneuvers, like going from c6 to all the way to g6. It did not work out last time, but of course, the position was very different.
But now also, as already you played it once, and this time I suspect Magnus is extremely well prepared here, though he didn't have that much time. Literally, he just didn't have time. I guess he needed to sleep. Needed to eat. He needed to put on Instagram post, and I don't know when was the time to repeat all the. But I guess he found the time to go over the notes, because now it's very important. Already, Jan is now, of course, his team has worked on this a lot. The position is quite safe, of course.
What do you think? What mindset Jan is having right now? Is he ready for a long game, like 6 hours, equalish position, but playing until the very end?
If he's on the pushing side, always. If he's on the pushing side, why not? If you play for 2 results, it's different also. You don't get so tired from, it's a good feeling somehow. You get tired from suffering, the continuous suffering.
Well, this is why I felt sorry for Jan, that after this game of yesterday, where practically the last 2 hours, at least, they were playing for 2 results, right? And you're sitting there and you play against Magnus, you know that there is a good chance that you're going to be failing to hold this supposed to be equal position, which is the computer says it is, but practically it's almost impossible to hold. And after that, going to the press conference to be discussing this game, of course, both players were playing nearly 8 hours, but it has a completely different energy for Magnus. We've seen his baby smile on his face, how happy he was, while of course for Jan things became much, much, much more difficult than it was before game 6.
Yeah,
so now,
exactly. Though to be fair, so you have this match, you prepare for half a year, and of course I think you are very well aware, or you should be, of the possible scenarios, and losing a game like that should be something that can happen, and you should of course have sort of mental preparation for that in advance. You should already have a plan for how you deal with that, because honestly, playing a long game with Magnus and then losing to him once in a while, how shocking is that? So there's definitely a scenario, and you should be ready still to strike back, because what we had seen in the Champions Tour, for example, okay, it's rapid, still Magnus gave opportunities for people to strike back. I mean, even I once managed to beat him on demand, but also Wesley So and Niglirin came back against him. And he has history of some history of also having people come back in the matches against him. So I don't think Jan should panic. I mean, it's a scenario so far that could have happened, and something that he should have sort of considered an option, not a pleasant option.
But you know, it's like, you know that your tooth can ache, but when it does, it somehow has a different perspective.
Oh yeah, exactly. But if you took I don't know, some medicine, you know, painkiller. If you took the painkiller with you on the trip, then it's better because you can take the painkiller.
Yeah, but still the painkiller, the effect goes out and you feel it again.
No, it's horrible. I'm obviously saying it's horrible. I'm saying it's horrible. I'm not going to argue that losing a game in a World Championship match is terrible. It's a disaster, for sure. It's still disaster. But it's, let's say you're not going to roll over and not play the rest of the match. To be fair, there are game 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 still to go. There's not even a need to come back today. There's so many games left, actually. It's like a full match still, seven games.
Of course, still, we are not even halfway. Only after this game we are going to be halfway because it's 14 games. And but still, of course, I'm sure Jan knew that this scenario can happen, that he can lose the first game and he has to bounce back, right? But still, it's easier to say than done. And we have knight c3 on the board after h6. So
I have to say, though, the position is extremely safe for white for the time being, right? Just very hard to imagine how things can get out of hand here. But at the same time, you would suspect Magnus also in book. Bishop e6 is sometimes a possibility once knight is on c3. And then you can choose to go knight d5 or bishop takes e6. It's a constant dilemma. You can take on e6 and go knight e2, knight g3. It's one thing. Knight d5, you always have to calculate, of course, bishop d5, ed, knight b4.
Yeah, this is the main question.
That d4 sometimes in such positions is good. I think here it's very good. e4, knight d2. Yeah.
Also, what happens if instead of d4 I go c4?
Yeah, also possible. bc-dc. Yeah.
Maybe it's very bad. I don't know.
No, it can't be very bad. I guess why would it be bad? But bc-dc, knight on b4 is a bit shaky. Yeah. Kind of how.
Well, the knight on b4 is a bit shaky. Yes. But what if, let's say, black goes knight d7 with the idea f5 and also to go knight c5?
I think d4 is enough to dismiss this line for black. Let's put it this way. I think just d4 is move 15 is enough to just stop. Yeah, I guess white is just better for nothing, or not.
Well, it seems kind of better, right? After takes.
Yeah, knight e4, the bishop pair for free. Yeah, I studied very similar positions from the Italian because I did this course, but I was wondering if bishop is not trapped with d5. Maybe 2f3 safer. Okay, you can play rook a6, yeah, but it's or queen d3 even. Yeah, you can actually do this and queen d3. Yeah,
maybe it's not such a big deal for white. If you have to go back somewhere, you get d5, c6, bishop d6.
Yeah, I like the bishop c6 actually. I think bishop c6 was strong. With d5, I had first of all maybe queen e2. Kind of a double attack. I don't know. You have some reply, of course, but maybe it's good.
Maybe rook b6. Bishop on b5 is.
Yeah, sort of double attack. I don't think bishop e6 is the move. I also don't like taking knight e2. I think the concept black has in this line is not to double the e-pawns. I think that's the concept. I think what
about bishop knight d5 if black just goes simply.
Queen d7. Yes. That's very possible. That's very possible. Now I can make a waiting move, and then you go maybe bishop to d8. Yeah. Let's say bishop d2, bishop d8, and then okay, I have to. Maybe
and I want to take and go knight e7.
Yeah, and then at some point I release the tension. So maybe I start with c3 instead of bishop d2. That's what they sometimes do. c3, bishop d8, knight f6, bishop f6, bishop e6, queen e6, and d4. This is what I would consider.
Well, now black has fe and queen e6 also. Both are options.
Yeah, queen e6 and d4. I don't know if this is enough for something, but maybe something small.
Well, it can be little space advantages.
But bishop e6 take on e6 and knight e2. I'm not sure how happy black is. Yeah, take on e6, knight e2. Like I feel the general concept of rook b8 is not to double the pawns with on the e file, you know.
So just go rook a8.
Yeah, maybe bishop out to d2 or e3. I don't know, some d5 something, but d5 knight g3. Yeah, maybe knight to g3. I was thinking maybe you could go knight h5 to slightly disturb, but knight g3 anyway, I'll play. Here I'm kind of happy, I think, a little bit. But it's normal position. Yeah. Yeah, it's normal position. And I can just ignore d5. I can just play maybe queen to e2, let's say.
Queen e2?
Maybe, yeah. I don't know why, but maybe c3, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe c3 was also a move.
Well, it is for a long game, that's for sure.
Very long game. And in the long run, the e-pawns are a bit weak, yeah?
Yes, this move of d5 is always tricky with black, right? It seems to be very nice, active,
yes, exactly.
Center. And then at one point, it can also be very stressful because if black has to go d4, that's the problem. If you leave it, that's the problem. If you take on e4, it's also not something you're happy with.
Yeah, back in the day, I once played a blitz game. It was a long time ago, so this all was kind of rare. This FE structure was not rare, but it was for me new. And I had a blitz game with Vichy, and at some point he allowed d5. I thought, okay, why? So I pushed d5. I'm completely excited. I think, okay, ed wasn't working. Nothing was a problem. He just made some move, and then I thought, okay, so I defend like bishop d6, and then I think, okay, I'm doing great. I have all the center. I have everything. But then at some point he played some knight to f1, to h2, to g4, and suddenly I lost, I collapsed on the e5 square somewhere, like many moves later. And then I realized that d5 is just a long term. It's a suspicious move in the general.
Yes.
There doesn't have to be refutation right away. It can be just that 20 moves down the road, your pawn is a bit weak. Magnus, by the way, taking a bit of time. I think he is just taking time because he is wondering what Jan prepared. I doubt he is surprised and he's out of book. I think he's just scanning the variations that the team looked. Okay, bishop e6 is one thing. I suspect there are also other options. I mean, rook e8 or knight b4 is also there.
Yeah, rook e8 is always there. What about knight d4?
Knight d4, okay, knight d4, very risky always, yeah? What about knight to d5 simply, or you want to keep the knights?
But why is this a big deal for white? Let's say just takes.
It feels one-sided to me. It feels like white has a plus for free, kind of. I don't know how big a plus, obviously, but the d4 pawn is kind of weak, and if black goes
to
c6,
you cannot touch it. You can't really touch.
No, not in the short term. But if you go c6, bishop b3, c5, I'll have bishop d5 back. So like my bishop.
For example, okay, after bishop d5, what happens if I just go for simple way? I want to simplify.
Yeah, let's say no, I don't want. Let's say I trade even. Let's say I trade the bishops.
Takes.
Yeah, isn't that just slightly more pleasant for white? And develop, let's say, queen, bishop.
f4?
No, I don't want to attack. I don't think f4, f5. You have blockade of dark squares. I don't think I can push much. I would just develop the queen and the bishop, like, I don't know, queen f3, bishop d2, bishop f4 maybe.
Well, okay, you have your a5, which is quite nice. You will develop with bishop f4. This I also understand.
Maybe down the road somewhere, I will hit the d4 pawn somehow after e5, d, bishop e5, or I don't know what. But just a slightly better position, I would think. I would think knight d4 is very sad to just create a weakness for no reason. I don't think it's in Magnus's taste. Knight b4 is kind of possible also, no? Stop knight d5.
Knight b4.
Yeah, knight sits very well there without the a pawn. Then you have to consider. No, d4 is risky because take and c5, c4. Oh, well, yeah, you can consider d4.
No, d5 is what can white do?
b5 is hanging, yeah.
b5 is hanging.
Yeah, so bishop d7 first, I think.
Though you cannot just give this pawn.
Knight a3, bishop d7.
You don't give pawns like
that.
Right?
I think you can just.
Okay, black goes bishop d7. Yeah, I mean, c5 is still there as a very unpleasant threat.
Yeah, c5. Yeah, well, d4 is very committal. The other way of dealing with. Okay, this continues, of course. Queen e2 or knight d5. But the other way of dealing with knight b4 is to just go knight e2.
Yes,
just push,
I like much more.
Yeah, the thing about knight c3, knight e2, knight g3 is same as knight e2, knight f1, knight g3. It feels kind of.
So are you going like this? Are you planning to go c3?
Probably. Yeah, knight d3 doesn't work by any chance. Knight d3.
Yeah, this is what I wonder if this works.
But why to? Oh yeah, actually, yeah, maybe a good moment. So, yeah. Sometimes can be bishop b7, d5, some compensation on light squares. Can also be not, I don't know.
I don't know if it's going to be enough though, because f5 square is always...
Knight takes if, yeah, it's probably not enough. Not enough. Yeah, I will win e5 pawn in the end. But I don't know. These days, sometimes compensation can be so long-term that...
we know it from AlphaZero, right?
Yeah, well, exactly. All kinds of engines and queen d5. Sometimes compensation can be very long-term. But here I suspect that it's knight d3 is too risky. If I start with 14 knight g3, by the way, do you have any extra options?
Instead of c3?
I was thinking, it feels weird, but queen c7. I can play bishop d2 first if I want to avoid knight takes d3.
You're very careful. You're extra careful.
No, I mean knight g3 first at least. Knight g3 first, of course. And then if queen c7, that you insist on c3, knight d3, like this would be kind of really good for black. Now bishop d2 maybe. Knight c6 and now c3. And then the queen on c7 is misplaced also.
Why do you say that my queen is not good on c7?
I think it doesn't support d5 and it's far from the king side. I don't think it's well placed on c7.
Okay, I go back.
c3.
d4 is far away, right? So I go bishop e6.
Yeah, okay. If you go bishop e6, then queen is okay there. Well, and we get this again. I mean, take fe. It's a question of, it's like a religious question. Do you believe in this or do you not believe in this?
I don't know. Somehow I never believed this in white, but probably
yeah, it's a religious. It's the same thing in Italian. You have this fe lines, and you have players who go for it and players who don't go for it. And the computer will tell you 0 to 25, and you can say it means nothing. It means something. It's just a question of religion. Of course, if the best players draw, but the computer gives a small plus, and sometimes white wins some games, which are nice, because they trade a lot of pieces, and then there are some weaknesses. Your structure is also more mobile. You have the d4 or f4 break. Black doesn't have many breaks. d5 weakens the e5 pawn.
But somehow it looks so stable for black when you have this
in the short term, it's very stable. But as we had seen yesterday, games can last 130 moves. Yeah, so maybe Magnus doesn't want. I think Magnus just doesn't want. Okay, maybe he has to, but in general, I would think that Magnus doesn't want to go fe. I don't recall him going for the structure too often with black.
Okay, so let's go back.
No, sometimes he did.
Is on the board right now. It's knight to c3, which is actually Jan has a good preparation in the Ruy Lopez, we can say. I think we can't complain about his preparation. He's always having an interesting position. I mean, game one, it was a pawn sacrifice by Magnus, where he was playing quite okay, though at one moment, you remember, Magnus was almost better.
Yeah, but from the opening, Jan was, let's say, quite well prepared. Yeah, he got this endgame that is safe for white in a completely unknown line. I have to say, though, that it's quite easy to prepare. You prepare just a small battleground, only anti-martial, and now simply only a4. It's easy to be well prepared. It's just very small battleground that you just research fully with a team of few people.
Well, it's easy to say. I've seen Karyakin playing with the white pieces in Ruy Lopez, and for him it was not so easy.
Yeah, I think what it comes down to, actually, for the team it's easy. It comes down to for the player repeating his files, like how well he repeats his files, how well he remembers things. I think Jan remembers better than
and also
Karyakin
how
so far.
well he understands the position, the depth of the understanding, how he can maneuver and stuff.
Yeah, that we will still see. We will still see about that. Rook e8, yeah, the most logical move. This knight b4 kind of creative. Bishop e6 is something I think that he doesn't want in general, but rook e8, bishop f8 is the most basic way.
And Magnus likes this plan, rook e8, bishop e8, I think, bishop f8, I think. Generally, he's quite happy with this plan.
That's the concept in general, sort of.
Yes.
And it's a very clean concept because, I mean, as much as I understand your reasoning for FE structure, it has downsides, but capturing with the rook on e6 is a very clean, like you don't give any pawn weaknesses. So it's a very sensible way of playing, especially if you want to play it safe and you don't want to unbalance position. So very normal.
Magnus doesn't like to allow to have weaknesses or strange pawn structures in his positions.
Yeah, although he's a very versatile player, but in this match so far with black, he's going for solid positions. But you could also remember, of course, how he was going for the Rossolimo, which is doubling the pawn. So he's a very versatile player. But as for this match, probably his strategy is to play with black very solid, very clean chess. you know, not, he doesn't want to like fully equalize right away with like in a rough way, but he wants to have a position with no weaknesses so that the long term it's fine. And good pawn structure, you know, everything good and safe. You have these people who prioritize the long-term factors in the position. And long-term, like the pawn structure mainly, and the pawn structure.
Yeah, also Kramnik was a player like that also. They were always looking in perspective, right? In strategies, like, yeah, one day in endgame, 30 moves from here. It can be a problem there, a little weakness here and there.
Exactly, yes. And for you, like, since you mate everyone on move 35 or move 25, it doesn't matter simply what happens in that game. For you, life is easier. But for people who cannot checkmate, they have to think like this.
For me, it was a big shortage in my youth. I was really going for the king so much, and I was attacking. I was not feeling the weaknesses in my camp, in my position, but little by little, I grew up. And I understood that I have to pay attention when I was playing already on higher level. So in those times, I was more careful than before.
I can imagine also, like they say, you know, the weaknesses are extensions of your strength. So obviously, if you're very good at checkmating, probably you tend to think more, you know, in these terms, more in, and okay, it depends. They're just different styles. But yeah, in this kind of positions, Magnus is definitely preferring the slow maneuvering. No, not much piece activity. And okay, now is the question, what the knight on c3 is doing. Is it going to d5, is it going to e2, or is it just waiting?
I think he's going to be either knight e2 or playing bishop d2, just developing.
Bishop f8 is the next move, regardless of what you do, I think. Bishop f8 and
d2
then...
or bishop e3. I don't know. You go bishop f8 and then start moving with the knight.
Maybe you wait for bishop e6 because knight d5 I can capture it. So sometimes in these structures, in various, like also in the English, like you wait for bishop e6. So after knight d5, knight takes d5, you have double attack with ed. Because if you go knight d5 right away, I'll just take it with the knight.
Yes, this is probably absolutely nothing. No, bishop d5 goes knight e7.
Very little.
Just prepare for that.
You can still play this bishop b3. I mean, maybe white is, but I don't know. Do you play even c5 or you just go knight g6?
No, I just go knight g6, I think, and bishop e6. Or
d4 is not a big deal anyway. But maybe take bishop d7. Or
maybe because of d4, I will be playing c5.
Yeah, no, that's what I was wondering. That's why, of course, to go c5. But now. Black has some minor disharmony in his position with the knight on e7, but if you don't have a follow-up, I will go knight g6, bishop e6.
Yeah, maybe it's just temporary.
Yeah, it's very definitely. Like maybe I have to go rook a7. I will go rook a7 maybe to try to stop some things.
I had an idea to go rook a7. You want to crack? Well, first of all, knight c6 I cannot, but I can go rook b7 or bishop b7.
Yeah, bishop b7 kind of leaves my rook there. Although the bishop on b7 is not ideal.
Yes, but the problem was if after rook b7, I thought you want to go rook
yes,
a8.
Yes, that's what I want to do.
To make some inconvenience in.
Yeah, this is a little. Yeah, so maybe bishop b7 is good. Actually, you can also go back at some point if needed, if you kick my rook back.
I can go back knight c6 and then go back to knight e7.
Okay, so one question I have, if I play knight d5 now, without bishop d2, now after taking, you cannot go knight e7.
Okay, no problem. I capture and I go bishop d7.
Okay, yeah, this wins me. It kind of wins me like half a tempo, yeah, somewhere. So now let's say bishop. Let me think. So in this kind of positions, yeah.
And queen b3.
Queen b3. Yeah, so queen. Oh, bishop b6 is possible.
Bishop b6.
Rook a6 though. You can play queen d7 or not. Probably.
It's getting tricky.
Yeah, it's dubious. You lose c7 pawn. Knight d5 played.
Sorry?
Knight d5 played meanwhile. I'm also wondering how knight takes d5 compares to bishop f8. Bishop f8, knight f6, queen f6, similar structure. I don't know which version is better. Very hard to assess.
You just move that way. Well, okay. Bishop f8.
Yeah, you have to take on f6 to prove something, and then I take with the queen. Okay, I don't know how bad it is. I want to go bishop e6 next.
It doesn't look anything special to me.
Yeah, again, c3. I mean, I would feel that you have to try c3, d4 after bishop. Take
But at
e6.
d4 you cannot play.
No,
it.
I take first.
And
Yeah,
then d4.
And then d4. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is good, but it's it's kind of a way to you know, the last attempt to fight for advantage, how I would understand this position, but I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
I have
this
some
might
center
be
control. Yeah,
knight d5 we have on the board, so it was played.
Also, I can take and play knight b4 maybe, and then c5, and then knight will go back to c6, having pushed. But it feels like it's a bit of a loss of time because knight
Maybe
b4
c3,
will have to go
knight
back.
c6, bishop d5.
Bishop d7 maybe. Yeah, it's
Okay, queen b3 maybe now makes more sense for forcing you.
yeah, rook f8.
And are you so happy?
Well, the thing is, queen c8. The thing is, I'm kind of strategically, like pawn structure wise, I'm happy. So if you don't have, and I don't see your direct follow up. If you don't have a direct follow up, I may be okay.
Well, bishop e3.
Guys, good point. Scoreboard is missing a game that Carlsen won. Good one. Have to adjust it.
It was there before.
The win was there, yeah?
Yeah.
Maybe they canceled the win. It's too long, fine. They said, no, games after 7 hours don't count anymore.
Automatically drawn.
Yeah, no, it's 1-0. Let's look at the speed, guys. Look at the speed. You just say it's already there. Ah, yeah, there are many scenes. There are many, many scenes, and in one scene it was forgotten. That's what happens. This is the scene with my face on it. It's a rare scene.
I guess looks a little bit kind of pleasant for white, right? The question is whether he can, how he can develop it further. So after knight d5, there are several options, right? Bishop f8, knight d5.
Very similar all, right, in the nature. But I have to say that I can understand the reasoning behind Magnus's choice is that in these kind of positions, if Jan doesn't come up with something fast, it will peter slowly but surely. He doesn't want, you know, these forced lines of the Petrov or Sicilians where, you know, you just somehow try to equalize by force. He says, okay, I'm slightly worse, of course, but he's kind of okay with that. That's just, let's say, it's not an achievement if you are slightly better. He says, okay, that's part of it. I'm slightly worse, but I will slowly equalize. I don't care.
Well, this is what we've seen in game 5, right? When Magnus just went knight e8 on defense, and then he said, okay, sometimes I make passive moves. Fine, I make a draw this way.
Yeah, because if you don't have, let's say, a bishop pair, a better pawn structure, what else is there long-term? Weak squares, which is basically part of the pawn structure.
The only thing is d5 square, what white can have later, but it's...
Yeah, but with yes, but it's, let's say, it's not a real thing. Yeah, it's only if you have knight on d5 against the bishop on e7. As long as I have knight against knight, like I can always cover it. So the weak d5 square is abstract. It's not really a thing also yet. So kind of long term, he's okay. It's just that his pieces are a bit clumsy now. It's a bit passive. Bishop on e7 is locked inside the pawn chain. And knight on c6 is in front of the c pawn, which is also a bit ugly. And it's kind of a shaky knight. So that's the issue. But as soon as that solves, the bishop goes to f8, knight goes from c6 somewhere else, pawn maybe goes to c5, you trade some pieces, it will be all fine.
So which you prefer, knight takes d5?
Yeah, currently it feels that bishop f8 gains me time with black, but I have to equalize. So bishop f8, take c3. That's the only line that bothers me. Yeah, take c3. I have to equalize that. Maybe I can play b4. I don't know, to try to simplify, but I am doubtful of that move.
Well, bishop a4.
Bishop d7.
d4.
Yeah, my point was, okay, bc I can include still. He went bishop f8. Yeah, bc. Now we traded a lot of pawns. No, I'm definitely slightly worse, but queen d8 maybe. Okay, I don't like b4. Can we not do b4? Let's try to equalize in a more prideful manner. So let's see that this problem with bishop e6 takes somehow d4. I didn't see a. Maybe there was something easy. Can I go? No, d5 is not working. Yeah, d5. Now after bishop e6, take d4.
With the queen?
Yeah, queen feels good. Yeah, yeah. d5. No,
Yeah, but after d5, e5.
Yeah, I wanted d5 directly actually at first, but I don't think d5 directly works because of d takes
instead
e5.
of takes.
Yeah.
But then I think simply white captures here.
Yes, I just wanted to check if there is no miracles.
Or you want to go
95 just
anyway.
what miracles? Yeah, just recapture. I'm fine. Yeah, just d5 simply. It just trades everything, I think.
Well, this can be a great opportunity for black if it works. Knight d4, queen d7, right? What about playing f4 and e5?
Very risky here because there's no attack yet with the bishop on c1, and I have c5 before d4, all kinds of counterplay. Very fast. And okay, you're at d4. I don't know. I create a weakness in a way.
Which weakness? The e4 square, you mean?
No, I mean the deep one itself, like cd, maybe b3, some queen d3 later. You will. Okay, can we go one move back? So you went f4. Can we go from that moment? Because I felt that f4 was risky. So f4. Let me think.
Well, you don't have so much.
Yeah, knight c4 probably though. Although there is merit in knight g6. Knight, yeah, but probably not. Because the knight is not in the way. So after e5, let's say b4.
Yeah, but it just stands not very well.
Maybe before first, maybe. I don't want to allow some things on the d file. Knight on c4 was kind of unclear if it's good.
Well,
I would think that the queen side is a little too open for white to be able to focus on the king side, and it's hard for you to push f5 with rook on e1. e5 pawn vulnerable, but maybe
yeah, the e5 pawn is attacked, and it's not so easy to move forward with the pawn, with f4 pawn.
Yeah, at the very least, this position is the very least unclear. So if you go back to bishop f8, then okay, if this c3 d4 is not there, then I don't know how white is
Maybe I would be trying to push something like this. What do you think?
Fe and queen g4,
and queen g4.
Yeah, I shouldn't panic, which is very tempting. Maybe queen f7.
Yeah, king f7.
Queen. Queen
f7.
But maybe king f7 is possible. That is insane. Queen
no,
h5.
I think then you should be panicking.
Queen. Yeah, no, king f7 is. No, and h5 next also. I don't think you can. I think h5 next now to win some material.
Ah, I wanted f5.
Yeah, this is very shaky for you.
H5, yes. Yes. Okay, so let's go back to bishop f8, where, okay, white can be taking on f6. Also, he can go simply c3.
This is it's not the same. Is it the same?
It can transpose because you can.
Yeah, but it won't, because you will not now. Wait, do you threaten
now you will not
97?
take on f6, right?
Will you not? Yeah, maybe you should, yeah, or not? I don't know. Is bishop d5, is that a threat or not? Could be a threat, yeah, 97.
Well, it's always a question, but probably eventually.
Not really though, because d4. Yeah, it's not right now. It's not a threat because you have d4 in the end, I think. But what move to make though?
Well, with white you can go bishop e3, bishop d2. You can try rook a6.
Yeah, the problem with these bishop moves is that now bishop d5, d97 could be a thing. Like the bishop is in the way there.
Yeah, let's say bishop rook a6. You just want to capture a knight d7.
Yeah, d4. There is this trick with e4, knight d2, knight d5, knight e4, which is kind of nice for white.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm thinking about taking here and
there's some tricks to it. But I can just take, I think.
On
with the king. With the king. No, with the king. Okay, I don't know. Rook e8 also wins maybe. King f2. Just king f2. I don't see any trick. Queen h4, king f1.
Yeah. Okay, this is exaggeration. Sorry about that. So,
But okay,
bishop
c3. What
f8,
about c3? Knight takes d5.
takes a 97.
97. Yes. Bishop to b3 probably. Yes, and now it's we've seen this. Yeah, we've just seen this actually. Have we? Yeah, we've seen it with some other order. And now,
does it make any sense to go to a2 and to play b4?
it's with the a file open. It feels better to keep it open, right?
Yeah, no, the only thing I thought that after knight g6...
I wanted
maybe
d4
like-
actually. Yeah, b4 possible. I wanted actually to push bishop b3, knight g6, d4 in the center.
Yeah, you want to play in the center. Okay, that's understandable.
You can of course go b4. It's not. I don't see what's wrong with it. But I wanted actually to go d4. Yeah, and also after c5, I have this a file for rook a7.
Yeah,
so I feel bishop on b3 is just a bit better, no? With a file open.
No, the a file open is always favors white, of course, but it's always another question how you can exploit anything over there.
Yeah, yeah. So it's indeed. Oh, it was different. Rook a7 now queen b6.
He had bishop on d2.
Yeah. Also, yes. So after rook a7 now queen b6 sends me back simply. Yeah. This. Okay. Now can I try d4 anyway? What's the reaction to d4?
How is it if I take, and if I go sharp?
Yeah, so let's push e5. Yeah, now I have to, as white, I have to
Actually, I'm not even sure I would go bishop f5. I could go b4.
Yeah, actually, this stuff is... it's hard for me to push the f pawn, right? It's the only thing I can, or the only thing I should do. The knight, I would go knight h.
Yeah, but somehow it seems like white is getting a little slow.
But what is black doing? Also a question. Like you have these pawns, but how exactly are they promoting?
Look at my pawns.
Oh, sorry, b3 c3. Just b3 c3. Can you just go? Can you not just go b3 c3? Just.
Even c3. My God.
Just.
No, you take and.
Queen c2. Queen c2. Queen c2. Bishop f5 though. Bishop f5. No, this not. This is not working. Yeah. So some c3 suddenly it's hilarious. Yeah. Like okay, bishop d3 c2. I don't know, but I mean.
Yeah, but
could,
this is,
could it be okay for white or probably not? No, with the pawn on c2.
Well,
cannot be, yeah, cannot be good. Pawn simply so far, but it is kind of fully blocked. I don't know. b3 is a bit weak, but yeah, this I would never do. It's too risky.
Well, actually, I was thinking that I didn't want to go c3. I just wanted to go bishop f5.
So let's not go knight h2 anyway. Let's go bishop. Bishop. It was here. Yeah, you didn't go b3 yet.
Somehow black is becoming very energetic.
But these things are hard to assess, yeah. In the bishop a4 is there, by the way. Let's do it maybe now.
And bishop d7.
Yeah, at least now I don't have any headaches with c3.
Well, not with c3, but you may have with something else. I think black is just very nice here.
Yeah, if I don't create any attack, black will certainly be very nice. So you don't think there is attack? You don't think there's some attack, yeah? You wouldn't find some knight h4, some mate, yeah?
I don't know. I don't see the power in that.
Okay, if you don't see the power, then I guess there's no point to try.
We don't have enough pieces somehow.
Not, yeah? I don't know.
I've
seen the worst attacks succeed. What about take e6 95? I don't know.
Yeah, this is the only thing for me which is exciting to play e6, nice. Knight e5. Nice.
Yeah, I was trying to make this work. I'm not sure if it does. Bishop takes h6. Don't know. It's total nonsense, I guess.
Well, okay, let's go for it.
Queen g4. Bishop g7.
h7.
Also bishop g7. Yeah. Yeah, it's so lame. But I have some time here. Maybe rook a6. This is so weird. I don't know if it can.
Rook a6.
I don't think I have a threat. Yeah, but it's probably total nonsense.
No, queen c8.
Queen c8, yes. Queen c8, maybe. Knight d7. Some tricks, but nothing. Knight d7, let's try some tricks.
Knight g8.
But I have check here. I have here a check.
Where?
For what it's worth.
My b8 rook is hanging also.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a big deal, but I have a check.
And if I just go rook b7? Knight f6.
Yeah, there's knight f6. This actually can get interesting.
Yeah, this can be no e6. Hold on.
No, it felt very lame, especially bishop takes h6. Maybe I could do something slower.
Maybe I should go queen d6, you know.
But maybe rook a7. I mean, it has a lot of bullet potential. In a bullet game, I'll do it without thinking. But okay, this rook a7 I kind of like.
Yeah, this can be something nice.
I mean, there's some potential for the pieces to coordinate and queen h5, whatever, something to happen.
No, I'm not even sure if I go queen c7.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna sack. Sorry, I'm not gonna sack. Can I not sack on h6? Okay, here I have bishop f4 back. I'm happy that I want the pawn back, but I want to not sack. Let me see if I can do something. What about bishop f and the knight c6? Then knight takes c6. What about bishop f4? Knight f5 maybe.
Knight f5 looks just fine.
Yeah, I just use bishop d6. No, I don't go bishop f4.
So actually, what is the reason why you don't like bishop h6?
Yeah, I just didn't think it worked. So gh, queen g4. Let's say. But I'm kind of not so good at this kind of stuff, so I don't know. But I just felt it doesn't work. So king h7 or bishop g7 first, the same probably. Queen e6. Yeah, bishop g7, that looks good. Rook a6.
Yeah,
Here it just didn't feel like it was serious. But I don't know. Do I even have a threat? So let's say go c3.
Knight b7, I guess. Knight
Let's say
b7, knight
c3, let's say, yeah.
Knight f6.
Maybe c3, let's say. But it's always hard to assess these kind of half long-term attacks.
Like knight d7?
Yeah, now I have this c2 move, yeah. But
You just want to take, I guess.
c2. I think c2 is nicer to have c1.
Yeah, it's
A bit too speculative, I think, this whole business.
yeah, black would have enough counterplay.
Yeah. Okay, he took on
Knight
f6. What was that?
Knight f6, queen f6. I guess c3, right?
No, but c3 was nothing because bishop e6, take, d4, d5. And
Well,
if
this
that doesn't
is the
work, then you
question.
might
But
as
you can
well.
go- But maybe you cannot go d4.
Oh, but you said it's hanging, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, it's hanging.
That's what I thought, is it?
It's queen d5, but it's
Into
not
this.
for advantage, I think.
Or rook a6.
Rook a6 I didn't see, but 95 anyway. It's
95.
convincing. Yeah, if you don't take with cd back, it's knight d3 is there. Then queen d. Yeah, no, I think if you don't get d4, then c3 is not.
So what do you want to do? You have to play somehow bishop e3 and then d4?
Yeah, I think it's just not very much for white, to be honest. Is he still in prep? He's not, yeah? Let's
Well,
see.
white spent, both of them spent 23 minutes. It doesn't seem so.
But when were you out of prep? So what surprised him? h6, rook e8? h6, rook e8, bishop f8? Like it will...
e3 actually on the board.
c3, yeah, but is d5 not working? Because if d5 is working, then this whole thing makes no sense. Let's see h6. Let me take some, see
No,
what he could
One
have
second,
not.
if takes, knight d4, you just go back. This is what we've seen.
Okay, so knight c3, that's first line. Rook e8 is first line. Knight d5, bishop f8 is also first line. Yeah, take c3 is all kind of, but it's kind of first line, but not so much. Bishop e6. Oh, by the way, this d5, there is rook a6, it continues. But that after d4, the computer just goes 97. He says it's not so much. Just allow d4.
Well, okay, that we discussed a little bit. So after d5, rook a6.
Yeah, rook a6 suddenly unpleasant, yeah? Didn't really see that coming. And after rook b6, you can just take on b6, take on d5, queen d5, take on e5, and you suddenly have some unpleasant endgame because double pawns.
Why? Is this really something unpleasant in reality? Knight
It looks
d4
like
or you take?
I take on e5 and king f1 simply. And claims very unpleasant here. Very unpleasant.
Is it really so bad? What's the big deal? b4?
Yeah, before the problem is rook d8. Yeah, the white should be fine. But rook d8. There is some concrete issue with the back rank.
And the problem is that bishop a3 is coming.
Yeah, exactly. And otherwise bishop e3, bishop f4, all these ideas. Yeah, but d4 at 97, it says completely nothing almost.
Yeah, okay, but
I would think it's a little something, but
rook a6?
completely unimpressed. Yeah, just queen c8, rook a8, just doesn't, and goes c6, doesn't knight g6, doesn't care about the center. And of course, it's true that if you trade a couple of light pieces, the central advantage space is less relevant. But I would still feel that it's something that Jan should do. Grab center and hope for the best.
The question is if Magnus can play something else than bishop e6. Is there something that he can stay in game? What happens if knight e7 and after d4 I go c5?
Yeah, it's actually very possible. I'm curious. I think the Jan's preparation is just the problem for Jan is that no matter what he prepares, position is just very solid. That's also a good thing for Magnus. Like black always has room. Yeah, you can play knight a7. I don't see why not. This position looks also unclear. Bishop, I don't know, e3.
Bishop e3?
Yeah.
Bishop e3. I don't know, knight g6.
Maybe bishop c2. Yeah, I'm not so impressed because we've traded a pair of knights, and this should be to black's advantage, of course, who has less space.
Probably black is going something like knight f4 by now.
Even knight f4. Yeah, it still looks like playable Spanish.
Well, why not to be a little active, right?
Yeah, 97, yeah, first. Let's see. Let's see if I need to push d4. What about rook a7, c5, yeah?
Well, rook b7 is just possible as well, isn't it?
And now your rook a8 move. That's interesting.
Am I suffering from this so much? c5?
Yeah, I'm not so sure why you include rook b7, rook a8, but you can also go bishop d7, yeah, next move. Yeah, it's possible. I don't know.
I'm just saying that there are several alternatives for black.
Yeah. No, you can just make any move. It's just, yeah, I'm not sure rook a7 does anything also, why I made this move. c5, I don't see like why rook a7 is
I mean,
so
in
great.
such a position, yeah, I mean, I would
c5 anyway is the plan. Is anyway the move you wanted to make.
Even bishop
Bishop
b7,
e6.
d5.
Ah, I thought bishop e6 also to neutralize.
Generally, bishop e6 is more logical, obviously.
Yeah, the rook a7 is pointless, I think.
So now black has several options. Either bishop e6 the solid way, or to go knight e7. Is there an idea to play knight d8 and knight e6?
Yeah, I would think though that a g6 square was more suited because then you keep the c8 bishop open.
No, now I was also wondering if knight e6 and also maybe black can go knight g5.
Yeah. Yes, if you are able to protect the pawn afterwards, though. So bishop e3, let's say. Knight g5 probably stakes with knight and queen h5, some problem.
Yeah, for the moment I wouldn't do it, I guess. For the moment I would be going this.
I feel though, given the match situation somehow, and
Bishop
I feel
e6
bishop
is
e6.
the move, right?
Yeah, I'm not saying 97 or 98 are bad. I don't think so at all. But I feel bishop e6 is more something that Magnus is that kind of suits his mood a bit more solid. I also think that he is aware of this position. He's aware of it.
Well, definitely, if someone wants to play the Rai Lopez, they have to look a lot of middle game, a lot of games from the expert. How do you prepare actually a new opening when you do? Because I remember when I was a kid, we had this file system. Of course, in those days, we didn't have computers yet. Maybe you've seen a picture of that, me having front of the file system. And every card had one game. We had about 100,000 cards like that. My parents were making it. Of course, later on, it was the computers. But before that, whenever I developed or we developed, wanted to learn a new opening, we just picked out the games and went through game by game, mainly about good players. And that's how we started to develop. How do you work nowadays when you want to have a new opening? I think it's very different by now.
Probably, yeah, because already as experienced players, you know, that like, you've already seen all these openings already a million times. So it's not like, let's say, since I never played, I don't know, I never played Scandinavian, let's say, but it's not like I haven't seen it before, yeah? I have faced it in a bunch of Blitz games with white. I have read some articles about it. I've seen a bunch of games of Magnus or who are other great players who played it. So it's not like you start from scratch. Though I have to say, usually there is a reason. If you are already, you know, playing for so long and you haven't played an opening once, usually there is a reason why I didn't do it. So you're not going to start it either. But otherwise, yeah, I think a lot of information is stored on the computer. But finally, it's the most important what you have in the head, because you can bring the computer to the game. So I try to make sure that, I mean, I stopped caring about having my computer as neat as I would want it to be, because even if your computer analysis and files are very nicely stored, everything is very neat. If in your head it's not neat, then you'll suffer during the game. So I'm focusing much more on having clarity in you know, in my memory and in my head rather than my laptop.
In proportion in the preparation period, how much do you use the computer and how much you work? Do you use a chessboard at home when you're preparing?
When I prepare, no, because it takes a lot of time to set up and move the pieces and so on. Usually when someone else is there, if someone else is there, you can use it. I mean, other than to play training games, we can use it. But I mean, if you start to play out all the variations on the board and take the moves back and so on, like it is kind of time consuming because otherwise you just click and it goes much faster. So I think in that sense, it's always a trade-off. Of course, it's nice to have seen it on the board already. But again, I mean, I've sort of seen many of the things already on the board.
But don't you think so that our memory works better if we are playing on a chessboard the same lines?
For sure, it works a lot better. If you have played something, you remember it much better. That's 100%. But
yeah,
it's just a question of time. Yeah, it's always a question of time. If you had unlimited time, you would play out every line on the board. But then it means that you lose some time and you don't know, you have to sacrifice that time somewhere else. Yeah.
So what is the optimal preparation? If let's say you say that you have your training session, what is an optimal setup for that, for a 2-week training session?
Well, I have no idea what optimal is. I think it depends per person and depends on style of play and depends on what the goals are for the session. I imagine if you're...
Let's say it's before, not before a tournament, but you want to work out a system or something, and you go with your seconds, your trainers, your sparring partners somewhere, and you just want to focus on that. What are the important things? You do sport, you do seeing movie. How many hours you're spending on preparation?
No, actually, movie is the highlight. I always like a movie, especially on a rest day. But in general, I guess if you don't have to play tournament right away, then you can sacrifice a little bit the things that are good for your shape. Yeah, so you can play a little bit less. You can do tactics a little bit less. You can focus more on working with the engine and the computer. Of course, if you have to play after that training session, then you want to focus more on the practical aspect. You want to be more ready for the game because it's a very different mindset. to sit with the computer, look for new ideas, and actually to sit behind the board and play. It's just two different mindsets and just two different jobs. So of course, depends really on what you do, and I like each of those. But as you said, yeah, if it's not before a tournament, then I can immerse myself also in some analytical work with engines. But movie is always good. Movie is good for rest day. I like movies, but it has to be a good cinema nearby.
How much you're focusing on the health issues, like on sports and other things?
Yeah, it depends a bit on the period for me. I always try to stay fit to some degree, but sometimes I'm a bit more fanatical about it than other time. I think in general it's good for everyone. I don't think it's a thing for chess players. I think it's just a thing for people, because nowadays you have so many challenges, you're facing with work mostly at the computer, behind the computer. I don't think that's how humans are meant to to live. So much sitting, so much looking at the screen. So I guess to compensate for that, some sport, some fresh air, some walks are very, very important. But I don't think it's a chess player. I think you see it everywhere. I mean, you see people, all sorts of jobs, on all sorts of social classes, somehow pay attention to their physical shape and health.
Well, mentioning the air, it's important to go on fresh air, but I also know that there was a company, Airthing, was sponsoring very much chess events. And I know you took part on that challenge as well. How deliberate parent are you that you're watching, or are you living differently since you're a father yourself, paying attention on the quality of air, quality of food, and generally living healthy?
Yeah, I don't know if that particular thing changed that much because I have the children. Because I guess you're always aware that you have to somehow try to lead a healthy life. Of course, you always have to compromise on things, because there are temptations to do things wrong in that regard. Like you want to work too much behind the computer, you want to eat some nonsense. Why is Magnus smiling, by the way? That's weird. And you also, in terms of the Airthings device, I think one important thing I noticed.
At home one, right? Are you using?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, of course, I use it. First of all, I thought, because I only used it in my place, I thought that, like, generally you don't really realize how bad the air quality is, because you kind of open windows. I mean, I used to, let's say, myself my wife was doing it anyway all the time, so she kind of wiser in that. But I personally would only open windows really if, like, it starts to feel that air quality is low. But by the time it kind of feels bad, it's already so bad, it's really wrong. So normally it's much earlier that you have to take care of that. And you see that with Airthings device. Though recently I visited a place that had a CO2 measurement device in every room, and that was a much bigger place than ours. And there the readings were much better. So I guess it depends on the particular location. Yeah. So if you have, I don't know, if it's a better ventilator or whatever, then it's maybe fine. But okay, my workroom is not very well ventilated. So here it's pretty small right now. So here, it gets the readings get pretty bad pretty fast, and you have to open windows regularly. But yeah, the device in that sense is very helpful, because the thing is that you think that you might think that you can sort of do it yourself, but you can't really. If you feel that the room is too stuffy or whatever, or like it's not fresh enough, then it's like way too late, and it's already simply, it's just a total collapse. So in that sense, the device is definitely helpful. And I'm happy I've received it. I took way too many selfies with it, but okay, that's was never my choice.
Well, I think it's quite interesting for chess players how much they pay attention on their preparation, because I don't know what about you. I know some players were paying more attention on their food. And I was like just having my habit and routine on a tournament to have breakfast or brunch, and then I had only dinner later on. But nowadays, I think maybe players are more deliberate on choosing their food and also
It depends on players, yeah.
air, physical preparation, all these things, especially in a World Championship match like here.
I don't know. I mean, on one hand, you think so, but if you look at, I don't know. I mean, I've seen, yeah, like I'm not only read interviews, but I see the people. I see them at breakfast. I see them at lunch. I see what they take on their plates when it's, you know, you've got this buffet, yeah, very often it's many tournaments. You just see like, and I mean, many of my colleagues. I don't think.
So you don't feel that they are so much paying attention?
No, I don't see that very much. I only see that in interviews mostly. I don't see it much happening. But of course there are, well, I mean, there are some people and there are some things they do. For example, you have many players who take certain things to the game with them, like nuts was a thing at some point. Leko was always taking something special.
Magnus was already taking when he was like 13, 14. He was really, we could visualize it, right? He was always going there with a box, opening it, eating it, these nuts with orange juice.
Yeah. There was the orange juice phase. Now I think he stopped the orange juice. It's too much sugar, maybe. Yeah, I guess Magnus is aware of some of these things. I mean, I don't know how religiously he follows, you know.
Yeah, he has a chef, he has a cook, no?
I don't know how full-time it is, and yeah, I mean, he's aware, of course, but I just don't know if he all the time follows it religiously. And meanwhile, I'm wondering why he takes so long. I start to kind of like, I like 97 more, if you look from White's perspective, because I struggle to, I guess 97 c5, I struggle to find a good way for White forward. While after bishop e6, at least if I trade the bishops, I kind of know how to play. That could be more my, could be kind of my stylistic preference, of course.
Like with which color would you play?
No, like here, of course, okay, not of course, but I think it's like White is slightly better, very slightly better, without any risk. But after 97, I should be slightly better as well, somehow, very slightly, but I'm not sure how and why exactly, because I have to somehow, yeah, like I wouldn't, it would be difficult for me, I think, if I'm unprepared here. Now I will look at it, of course, after the game, and I will know how to play, but it's not easy, I think, here. Maybe Jan is prepared, though.
Yes, I think it's a difficult moment for Magnus, probably, because now he has to make a decision which direction he goes. If he goes bishop e6, it's a more solid way of playing, because simplifying and get rid of the white square bishop of White, it goes into a positional way. If he keeps the bishops on and plays knight e7, then the game is much more complicated.
You know, you could have a deja vu, though. Last time he had a choice between bishop e6 and knight 7, knight g6. It was better to start with bishop e6. So maybe he has that in his system still, and he wants to kind of, learn from his mistakes, so-called, and now go bishop e6 first, because you don't want to make the same mistake twice. But here it's different. There is no real c4 issue. Yeah, knight e7. I mean, c4 is not really a thing in the structure, I guess.
How much you think Magnus can have confusion in his head? That am I playing for a draw? Am I playing a complicated game? Which direction do I want to go? Or can he eliminate from his head all these ideas, and he's not thinking that he's leading in the match? Or when you're leading in a match, it's always in your mind and you know it, and you play accordingly?
Yeah, I think it's easier when you're leading in the match to make up your mind with black than if you're not. Already before, he played very solid with black, didn't he? In most of the games, he played it safe with black. He's, I think he's always ready when he gets a chance. But the opening he chooses, the way he chooses to play it, he doesn't expect. I think it's mostly solidity first, safety first, and he wants to make sure there's no long-term issues. And he thinks, okay, if slightly worse, I'll handle it. I don't think there's much ambition. I think he's just thinking which is the most accurate equalizer. I guess that's the thing he I think it's just a dilemma to bring the knight over to g6 first and c5, or to go bishop e6 first.
And we have knight e7 on the board.
Yeah, no, it's nice. I like that choice. I mean, from white's perspective, I would just like knight e7 more than bishop e6.
From white side, you would also like more knight e7.
No, I mean, I would, as white, I would kind of know what I'm doing after bishop e6. I have knight e7, like because I have knight e7. Okay, I can play bishop e3, let's say. I know it's a good move. But let's say bishop e3, you go, I don't know, c5. You know, I'm not really sure what to play. I have like an options with the
after d4.
Yeah, d4, yeah, d4, of course. You want to do something?
I want to check this.
Now with the queen on f6, but now with the queen on f6, it gets under tempo. But that's the worst version of knight h4. Knight h4. This is like
very
aggressive.
Kind of
worst version, no?
Very aggressive.
Yeah, queen h5. f4. I think this is a significantly worse version of what we've seen. You got the queen exposed.
I just want to see for short term. I can go here and what do you do?
Yeah, I'm choosing between queen h5 and knight f5. Maybe queen h5.
Takes.
Yeah, these things are never clear, but I'm hoping for a 4 or 5, and I'm mostly hoping also that your counterplay is not as strong as you hope it is.
Yeah, the question is
b3,
how.
Maybe.
Yeah, b4.
f4. Yeah, b3. I don't know. It's kind of worrying. Yeah, you're kind of fast. Okay, can I not go?
I'm very fast.
I don't like queen h5. I don't like queen h5. Too slow. Let's go knight f5. Grab the bishops.
Okay. b4.
I'm not, of course, not giving up. Yeah, the bishops.
No, because it's a very interesting situation also psychologically of the match. I mean, obviously, if Magnus would win a game again, I'm not saying the match is over, but...
Yeah. Sorry, can I take on g6 though, instead of this, knight g6?
You take with knight?
Yeah. Queen f3?
Yeah, I was actually wondering if I could go to c6, but then b4 is not possible because bishop a4.
Yeah, I want h4, queen g3 kind of things. Sometimes. And that maybe you're not in time to arrange the bishop.
Queen e6.
Queen g3 is one thing. I can also start with h4. I wanted to start with h4 actually, just to collect the g6 pawn.
Well, I think, yeah, this is exaggeration.
A bit obvious,
yeah. Yes, so after knight e7, you went bishop.
Yeah, I mean, I thought c5, d4, you go knight g6. Yeah, and then I again wouldn't be sure what move to make here. White has a center, but with the pair of knights absent, somehow it's lacking the punch because knight on f3 is, yeah, it doesn't really have function. As e5 pawn is so well protected, it doesn't have much function.
And the queen supports very much that knight can go to f4.
Yeah, queen is perfectly placed now.
By the way, e takes d4 is threatening with the e4 pawn to capture.
Probably, yes, it's the threat already. Yeah, I'm just not sure. Not sure if white has an easy way to progress here.
It's not easy. It's not obvious how white is getting advantage. Actually, I like very much the queen on f6 with this plan of knight e7, knight g6, f4. And usually,
yeah, no, I understand.
Usually black is not getting there somehow.
Knight to f4?
No, somehow to have the queen on f6 and knight on f4.
Yeah. Usually you develop it yourself, and it takes a lot of time. But now white played knight c3, knight d5, knight takes f6. He spent 3 tempi to make you go to f6 with the queen. So in that sense, you gain a ton of time. It gains a ton of time. We should also not exaggerate. The knight on f4 is not the end of the world. Yeah, I guess.
Not the end of the world. Probably you will just have to take it, right?
Oh, take. No, I was not sure if I want to give up the bishop, but it depends on my move now. I think safe here is bishop d5. That's a safe move.
Bishop d5.
Yeah, that's a safe choice. If you have no ambition, I'd go bishop d5.
But I don't know what is this. I know maybe I'm too fanatic on that. But what happens
Even
if
here,
I,
yeah? You want to
I don't know.
somehow
Probably
trap my
bishop c6 you should be doing, and d5 or something.
b3. How do you plan to meet with c3 or what? But after b4, you risk that the pawn will fall. But maybe
I
not.
wanted somehow going back knight e7.
Yeah, but now I have b and knight d5. Okay, this I blundered. No, this is. Yeah,
Now
I mean,
you win a pawn.
No, bishop h3 is this is blunder. Just bishop h3.
Ah, yes.
I shouldn't do this. No, I don't want to do this. Yeah, I just missed it. 95 somehow strong. No, let's not go b3 then. This feels a bit suspicious. Maybe it's good.
So if bishop c6.
Calculating rook a7, knight e7, e5. Don't know if it works yet.
Queen g6.
Knight h4.
And yeah, I have to go to h7. Then I don't like it. Then
Yeah, some queen f3 business.
I don't
Yeah,
want
I was thinking e5, d, queen f5, I think, but it felt dubious for black. Yeah, I thought d, queen f5. I didn't see the kill there yet.
It looks a little shaky, right?
Very shaky, a lot of pins everywhere. But I didn't yet see the kill, and if I don't have the kill, then it's not so clear.
Well, obviously it's pretty risky for black. So after c5, what was it? We went knight g6, bishop d5.
Yeah, I don't know why I played bishop d5. It's just strange. I mean, I just wanted to play bishop d5 because I didn't want to go passive with bishop c2. But I don't have to. I also don't have to push d4. Nobody forced me to push d4.
Yes, but if you don't play d4...
Yeah, maybe I play safe knight h or d2, I don't know. Knight h2 maybe.
But what is your plan?
Maybe
Okay,
just knight to g4 to e3. Knight to g4 to e3, or the bishop is already on. Did I put the bishop already? Yeah, why did I put the bishop on e3? Can we go back?
This is what I wanted to ask. If you want to go through to e3, then maybe here you should be going.
Maybe I should... Yeah, here knight h2? Yeah, but now you don't have a weakness on d5, so...
Yeah.
Maybe rook a7 first then? Yeah, let's go rook a7 first.
Okay, c5.
Is he still thinking? Yeah, rook a7, c5. And knight h2 was the idea now.
Queen g6.
Queen f3, I guess. I'm not impressed yet. Bishop e6. Not so impressed.
Yeah, bishop e6. I guess
queen
you
takes,
take.
knight g4. I'm not sure. Yeah, no, but it's not impressive. You'll trade maybe rook a8 or something. Trading my rook. And in the positions like that, the d5 square weakness is not really relevant because
who is better?
Your knight is protecting it.
I mean, black is just fantastic, I think.
Yeah, I think the whole journey was kind of. So what about?
It seems very slow.
So what about
unless
bishop
you
e3?
can go knight b4.
Can I go bishop e3 instead of rook a7 again? I think maybe you can start with knight g6. Okay, let's say c5.
Well, okay, c5.
Yeah, let's say knight d2.
Where are you going?
Queen f3 maybe. I go queen f3.
But can this be anything?
No, but at least I know I'm on the good side.
I mean, I can also play c4, I think, here. You go back.
Yeah, it's very little. There's no doubt. But at least white is...
Yeah, I don't play c4. I wanted to go bishop e6. Just I'm curious.
I'll take. I'm kind of happy here.
Bishop e3 played. Actually played.
And rook a somewhere. 7 or something. I'm kind of fine here, protecting protecting my a file control and rook e to a1.
Okay, here you have a little something, right?
Very little, yeah. But
okay, so bishop e3 is on the board. And now what Magnus is up to? Knight g6 or c5?
no, knight g6, rook a7 I didn't like. Oh, sorry, bishop a7 wins. Bishop a7, bishop d5 just wins.
Okay,
you have to go
this is a
c5.
blunder.
No, you have to go
Okay.
c5. Or bishop e6, but bishop e6 is inconsistent. I guess c5 is more consistent.
I think c5 is the move. And then you went knight d2, right?
Yeah, maybe you could have bishop e6. I was more concerned about bishop e6 first.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Also, actually, I was thinking queen g6. That was the move that I was thinking. You can go queen g6, and if I go queen f3 now, then you go bishop e6.
Then bishop e6.
Not sure if the queen on f3 is
No, I'm
kind
not
of,
sure. Yeah, but I'm not sure right on f3 the queen is bad.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know. Either way.
But it's no big deal.
Take rook a6. I think here.
Maybe immediately rook a6.
Yeah, actually, here you are in some issues. You have suddenly. Here actually some issues.
Well, okay, rook d8.
Bishop takes e6 here. You have to take f8.
Ah, and c5 is hanging.
Yeah. Oh, you have rook queen c8 maybe. Yeah, you have actually rook d8, bishop e6, queen e6, and the bishop c5, queen c8. Yeah, in the end.
Ah, queen c8.
But I'm just better positionally. I don't need to fall for this. Yeah, this is nice, but I don't need to fall for it. I can just play rook ea1 or something. Maybe I'm better positionally a little bit.
Yeah, the a file is unpleasant.
A file is nice. A file is nice. Yeah, maybe white is doing quite nice here still. Thanks to the a file.
So you go knight d2.
Just knight d2, yeah. Yeah, you know, the d4 was the issue. I don't think d4 is good because it creates all kinds of worries for me. It doesn't give me anything. Because then anyway, how to proceed? de or d5, it's all...
Actually, I don't know exactly where you are heading with your knight by playing knight d2.
Nowhere. Just giving the square for the queen on f3. Knight is going to stay on d2.
What if I go bishop e6? You go rook a6.
Yeah, I can go rook a6, yeah, I like it.
Because after takes...
No, rook a6 is good. Rook a6 is good.
I was thinking to play f5 later.
Yeah, you might, yeah. Rook a6 is good though.
After rook a6, I go back bishop c8.
Yeah, but now maybe I gain rook a7.
Anyway, I go here.
Okay, but I'm happy with the move. So let's say I now take.
Take.
Queen g4 f5, yeah?
I just thought to go f5. Be a little active.
EF?
EF knight.
Yeah, it's a bit annoying, of course, the change of structure. Because now after d5, you have suddenly a lot of pawns in the center.
Wow, what kind of position I have after d5. Look at these pawns.
Yeah, wow. I'm not sure I'm worse with white, but it definitely looks nice visually.
Though, of course, I'm not crazy about going back bishop c8. I have to admit that I'm...
Okay, but you know what was the culprit? I don't take on e6 after bishop e6. There was no need to take on e6. So I play rook a7. Yeah, no, I don't take. I allow the 5. Now I just play differently. I don't see how though. I don't see a good move. I have to lose the tempo, maybe some queen c2 or something. Queen c2 is not. Okay. Oh no, it's not. Queen c2 feels very stupid. It doesn't even feel like the right direction.
Somehow it looks slow. Besides that, after let's say queen c2, I just.
Yeah, it feels like the queen shouldn't go to that side. It should like go to that side, and rook should go to that side. Maybe queen h5.
But after queen h5, I'm going to be taking and c4, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably not knight c1. Let's say I don't know how
d5
big a deal. Yeah, I'm a little bit.
I mean, the knight on c1
shaky.
is not
Yeah, it's a bit shaky what I've done. Yeah, let's not allow that.
Unless you have some d4 kind of.
Yeah, probably I should have gone like dc, bc, knight d2, but already it's not fighting for anything. Yeah, no, I shouldn't do this. Let's not go queen h5. I need to make a neutral, maybe rook f. No, I just need to make a good neutral move here. Because rook a6 was nice. It's just that you kicked me out.
I have another idea. I know it's not logical for black, but I just want to ask you. If on bishop e3, well, it's not logical to put the bishop on b7, of course. No, I think
I suspect he's thinking choosing between bishop e6 and c5. I suspect. I doubt bishop b7 is a serious consideration. Yeah, it's unconventional, and knight g6 bishop a7 is too easy of blunder. I think he's thinking about bishop e6 maybe.
Yeah, bishop e6 or c5, right? This is the dilemma.
Yeah, what I think is going on is that I think he thought in his prep this is harmless.
He went bishop e6.
He went bishop e6, yeah. And now he's wondering what's up. What does Jan want? Bishop e6 is, of course, yeah, it's like on the previous move. Yeah, it's the same thing. It gives Jan a small plus, but it's very solid. I understand that. It's not a bad move.
But actually, after bishop e6, takes, white cannot play d4 because you just take it.
That's the idea, maybe. Yeah, but I decided already against d4. I will just go rook a6 or something.
Here you go rook a6?
Maybe even here, yeah.
Rook a8.
Yeah, that's why maybe I should have taken on e6 first. So
and
I would have...
what's going to be the difference? You want to go queen a1 or what?
Yeah, exactly.
In this position, b4 is possible too.
But b4, even c4, I'm not sure you're happy. I think I'm happy with c4.
I knew that you're going to play c4. I don't know what about f5 though. I don't play b4. I go f5. I mean, I can be active too.
Yeah, it looks reasonable. No, I don't take on e6.
What is your a6 rook doing there? I did not play c5, so d6 is not weak.
You know, I have a very funny idea. I can play rook a6 instead of bishop e6. Rook a8, yeah. I can play queen a1 here also.
Oh, you want to say takes and bishop b3, queen b5.
But you had bishop h3. You had bishop h3 after instead of bishop b3. So you have to take on a6.
Just take and bishop h3.
Yeah. So this was a bit risky. Yeah. I can go queen b5, but I'm not sure I want that whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay, and what if I play not rook a6, but something like queen c2, just neutral, to try and double on the a file? Oh, h3 again. Sorry, I blunder h3 pawn all the time. No, let's not do this.
No, but queen c2 doesn't look to me good. It looks.
No, I wanted to go double the a file and connect the
a file. d4 seems to be the logical move.
You know, by the way, that Jan, of course, he might be in a mindset where he wants to push for a win, and so he could consider bishop c2, yeah, keeping the pieces on the board.
Yes, but after bishop c2 already black has a great achievement, pushing back the bishop to c2, I believe. I go knight g6, knight f4.
Yeah, let's say, okay, knight g6, let's say rook a7. Yeah, again, I'm not sure about this. Okay, let's not go rook a7.
You're not doing too much with your rook, I think, after you don't have your bishop on b3.
No, I just want to kind of double eventually.
Karpov style.
By the way, after d4, it's not exactly the same because your bishop is on e6, a little bit exposed.
Here4.
No, after bishop c2, knight. Also here d4, by the way.
Why
yeah,
not
I can play
d4 here?
Yeah, I can play d4 here if I want. Yeah, I can do that. Actually, it's a likely one.
This is my question. And d4 is on the board.
Very normal, yeah, of course.
I think it's the most obvious move right now to play d4.
Yeah, we are back to the same thing with take and knight g6 and all that. Yeah, I would be curious how Jan would treat position after knight g6. I was asking more questions. Bishop e6 is, of course, a try to simplify. Yeah, I like the way Jan handles this game. He doesn't panic. Just
Let's
plays it
say
calm.
knight g6. What do you do with white? Are you going rook a7, d5, or what do you do?
Yeah, if I go d5, I probably trade first, yeah? Yeah, let's try d5, yeah.
And you just control the a file and you say that maybe you're happy.
I'm not sure how much I control it after queen d7, let's say.
Queen e7?
d7 probably. Keep f5 in mind.
Okay, rook a7,
Okay.
rook a8, queen a1. Let's be Karpov.
Take.
This looks a little bit, can be unpleasant.
f5,
f5 takes.
97.
Can't white go f6 or it's no big deal?
Good gf, yeah, or 95 even. This could work out okay for black, yeah?
Yeah, this f5 97 can be very strong.
Mm-hmm.
It can be very strong.
But rook a7 was not a must.
Yeah, maybe queen d3.
Yeah, I was thinking
Let's
more
say
on that,
queen
but
d3.
actually, yeah, f5 maybe
Okay.
doesn't work, yeah? Rook a8 is normal, yeah. f5 doesn't work, yeah, maybe.
f5 takes.
Yeah,
Takes e4.
yeah, you move the queen though. c2 maybe. f5 is hanging as well.
f5
Yeah,
and d5.
yeah. So where do you move the queen?
No, actually, it doesn't matter because you take anyway f5 and I cannot go knight
Yeah.
d4 because
Yeah, you have to go to
d5.
h2, which is an awkward square.
No, but that's already, black is just completely fine, right? Knight d5.
Yeah. Yeah, so maybe not queen d3.
Maybe d5 is early.
But d5 is kind of now or never, yeah?
Rook a7. What is this?
ED?
Takes d4. Knight takes d4.
Queen d7.
Yeah, the pressure on e4, it's not so easy to handle with
So
that.
Magnus's handling is not it's a bit far-fetched, yeah, so far of these positions. Like, I think he's changing his mind on every move. That's where it comes from. I think he wanted bishop e6, then decided knight e7. After knight e7, he wanted knight g6, then decided bishop e6.
Well,
Not
this
here,
would
not
be
there.
a great sign for Jan.
Yeah, I
If,
think he had to
if
like
it is.
it's a bit not here, not there. Maybe one or the other. Yeah, I'm not sure the combination is that good, but we'll see. It should still be
Well,
very,
if
very
it-
solid.
If knight e7 is not a good strategy in this position, I think maybe for some time he's not going to play knight e7 g6 plan.
Okay, it's a normal plan. It's just that somehow in this order he allowed d4 in a slightly inconvenient way.
So after d4, what does he want to do? I don't know, somehow I have a feeling that white achieved something. Something very small. Because actually, if he wants to go knight g6, why didn't he go knight g6 in the previous move? No, previous he couldn't because of the rook trap.
Yeah. So he could have gone c5 though,
c5.
but he wants to not commit somehow to anything. Wants to be super solid.
So if knight g6, you want to take on e6. Is there anything else for white? Not really.
So this d5 is very tempting, yeah? I mean, take d5, queen d7.
This f5 can be very annoying.
Yeah, but it's kind of, we sort of see it coming, yeah? So we should be able to deal with it.
What about queen c2? Also f5?
But now it's very suspicious to go 5. Okay, 5 ef.
Knight e7?
But how is this position if I protect the d5 pawn? Oh, not this pawn. I wanted to. This pawn is also sometimes possible. It can be very strong to protect the f5 pawn also sometimes, yeah, and then start attack on the king. Maybe, yeah. Let's go g4. Yeah, let's try that. And
Knight
bishop
h4?
d2. Bishop d2.
Bishop
Oh,
d2.
even you don't even waste time, yeah, on the bishop move.
I don't know. I was just wondering what happens. I mean, queen b3 also possible, which is maybe to maneuver there. If you go bishop d2, I
But
think
also, your knight is pretty bad. What about queen e4 instead of g4? Oh, the knight's pretty bad here on f5. So now I go rook a somewhere 7. You need it on f6. It's going to be very long, this journey.
Well, it's quite a hassle to go there.
Yeah, it will take a while, and I can play b3 c4 if needed to protect the d5 pawn.
No, this is nice for white. This
Very.
we don't have to look further.
Yeah, so I'm not so sure this long d5. It's a little bit suspicious.
Okay, so queen c2, maybe c5 or c6.
Yeah, but instead of queen c2, yeah, what is black's next move? What was the problem? Let me think a bit. So f5 ef is not a problem. Maybe knight d2 or something. Can I go knight d2?
And after f5,
ef.
queen takes. f3.
No, I wasn't planning f3. I was thinking b3 c4, but it's already
You have no
little-
time
little.
for that.
No, I can play b3 and c4, but it's a bit slow. I mean, it's going to be little. I think it's a little bit better for white, but I don't think it's much.
I want to go e4, knight e5.
Okay, you have some. Your bishop on f8 though is kind of making sure that nothing exciting is going to happen. Yeah.
Yes, my f8 bishop is a piece which I'm not so proud of.
And e4, I have queen g4 also maybe, but okay, this is not much. But I feel it's all better for white, like all of these things. Every
Then
single
queen g4
position.
maybe now.
Yeah, then take 97. It's losing them.
Ah, there's immediately. Yeah.
Yeah, then 92 is not good. I don't need 92. I mean, let me think. What about queen d3, f5, ef, e4, queen d4?
E takes d4 is played.
But wasn't that cd?
Quite interesting decision.
Yeah, it's quite
Maybe he
desperate, of
wants to
course.
go d5.
I don't think so. With the e5 and the c file, rook c1
But
just
what's the point to give up the center?
no, to take on b3 and knight g6, hit on the e4 pawn.
Knight g6?
But it's very desperate attempt to equalize. Yeah, it's just
G6?
very nice for white. c5 maybe, I don't know. Maybe it also works slowly, but quite desperate.
Very strange moment.
Okay, I think he just didn't like the alternatives. I think it's what else? Like I don't think allowing d5 was great. Like it's very risky. I think this is safer for sure. It's safer, but it's like very clearly establishing. Okay, it was already clear, but white is on the good side of things.
So after c takes d4, you think he wants to take?
Yeah, d5 is a disaster. Yeah, I think with the pawn on c7 after e5.
Well, e5, bishop c2, knight h4 and stuff, right?
Bishop c2. Yeah. Okay, queen is almost trapped. Besides other things, yeah. Also, you had c pawn on c4 back in the day. Now it's on total disaster on c7. Yeah, so you probably want to take or knight g6. No, but knight g6 already bishop c2. I even keep the bishops. I'm not sure. It's
Go d5, bishop
Yeah.
d4.
no. Yes, I want to trade. I want to trade pieces. And you need to trade pieces in such cases. You need to trade on b3. Queen b3 and knight g6. Okay, maybe c5. Maybe it's not so much.
But it's very unexpected.
Yeah, it's an unusual way of dealing with it for sure. You don't want to kind of give up the center, but sometimes with there's not much material left. With some pieces traded off, it's okay. c5. Okay, here is very little, yeah, actually.
e5?
Yeah, e5. You want to go dc or?
Of course.
Yeah, so can I not go d? Can I just try to be like super solid with queen? Yeah, I don't like the d8 square, of course, but e6 is easy, yeah?
Where do you want? e6?
Normally e6, but ed is kind of, ed6 is a problem. And their discovery on the queen.
Well, okay, question is, so what?
Yeah, it's still a question, yeah. Yeah, it's a question, actually.
But isn't white better simply in this kind of position? I mean, knight on f5.
But bishop on f8 protects everything, yes. I would think it's symbolic. Queen d5, let's say. I think it's quite symbolic. As long as you don't have direct ideas on g7 with the bishop on f8, so while guarding everything like this, I'm kind of happy with black. I think this is fake news. But maybe something else earlier. It seemed like you had maybe something.
Sorry?
I feel like you maybe had something after 26 ed cd. Maybe you had something. I don't know. There were some options. Bishop h6, bishop f4. Bishop f4 is queen d7. Actually, the only, yeah, so d is I don't like. Queen e6.
Then queen e6.
Yeah, here queen e6 we looked, I think. Yeah, so take on c5, first of all, is...
Knight e5 also possible.
Knight takes e5. It's very dubious.
E6.
I wanted to go dc. Bishop c5. You should hold, of course, even some queen c4, but it's not 100% comfortable. But it should hold.
Breaks are good.
I should make a draw. Let's say queen c4. At such position, I should be able to hold, but it's not what how you want to do it. Maybe, although maybe you don't care.
But what is here if after? What is this position?
Yeah, then you should go d right away. Yeah, there's no need
Yeah,
to.
but okay.
You want anyway queen e6. Yeah, well, this is the kind of risk Magnus doesn't want to take. Yeah, b4. You can, of course, yeah. You can have f5. I have queen a2, but I don't know. Even in the end game, it's not like it's obvious.
But after f5, what am I going to do? f4?
No, I'm not sure. I don't think the DC is something you want with black, but depends on concrete circumstances.
Tricky what I want with black.
I thought DC maybe e4 or something is something to check after c5 e5. Like DC e4.
Takes c4, knight d4.
Then knight h4 or something like that.
You want something on g2.
Yeah, I pretend like I do, but I'm not sure if there is any real. But maybe.
Maybe.
Jan is, by the way, thinking why exactly?
I think Jan is not at the table. None of the players are at the table.
It's the usual thing.
It seems we are back to the old days. Yesterday, somehow they had a special day. They were sitting there quite a long time. Time trouble for both of them, mainly for Magnus.
Yeah, I think we are sitting more at the table than the players, that's for sure.
E takes d4 is really surprising for me, but it's interesting. Knight g6. Is there anything else than queen c2 which is sensible?
Queen c2 is like so tempting. It's like an automatic.
But also black does not have too much of an option than c5.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can only afford this much. You can, I mean, you can. Because you could argue that with two pair of light pieces traded, you can afford to break some of the rules, like fighting for center. But I feel that, okay, you already abandoned the center. You should at some point fight for it after all, yeah? So c5 feels like really you have to make one normal move also at some point, yeah.
But what happens actually after c5, d takes c5? And bishop c5?
Yeah, this is just
Takes
nothing,
and queen b2, right?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, it's just nothing. Even if you were to gain the b pawn, it would just be 4 against 3.
Yeah.
CD, of course, played
CD.
as soon as Jan is back at the board.
Well, there is no other move in such a position. You cannot not strengthen.
Yeah, you have to, if the center was given to you, you have to take it and you have to hope for the best.
Bishop b3. Very unexpected in some ways.
Yeah, it's interesting. I have a feeling that when Magnus is preparing, he is looking only at the forced lines, and when it gets kind of slow, he just doesn't really, or maybe he doesn't even choose a way in his preparation. Maybe he just chooses over the board. Maybe that's why, because he's thinking in positions which you couldn't have been preparing at home, but he chooses to think. So I wonder if it's because I don't really understand. Yeah, I mean, I can understand why, but
I'm curious if we are going to be really seeing the position after queen c2, c5.
But how else to fight for advantage for white? And then queen c2, c5, e5.
I don't know how the advantage is for white. And I don't know if there is any reasonable instead of queen c2 to start with.
No, I mean, you can make some move, yeah, if you want. It's just, I don't think it's going to be better than queen c2.
But what kind of move you can make instead of queen c2?
Queen d5, let's see, you can make.
Queen d5?
You can also go rook c1, rook e4, rook c7, but I guess it's just nothing.
You don't want to give up your pawn on e4.
Normally not, no. I think this is a very important variation. Rook c1, sorry, queen c2, c5, e5, queen e6, e d, c d. Like, I feel there might be something for white. If it's nothing there, then it's nothing anywhere. No, you know, queen e6 feels... e5, queen e6, the d, this is risky. Yeah, ed, only way, I think, to fight for something big, cd. And here...
c4, no.
c4 I can also, yeah, but okay, that's the pawn side, bishop h6.
Yes.
Yeah, can I go bishop takes h6 here?
Queen d6?
Yeah, and play this position with bishop d. Yeah, it cannot be much, yeah, for sure.
Well, my e4 pawn is not a weakness, I believe.
No? Could be a weakness.
I think it's a weakness. I go with d3 just for you.
Yeah, kind of rook e2. Yeah, rook e2 also. Yeah, unlikely that I'm realistically better. Okay, queen b3, let's make just a few moves for fun.
Yeah, after rook e2, you want to go rook a7, I know. And knight g5 also you keep in mind, right?
Actually, I was planning to be much more miserable with just taking rook e1. But what if I just take on rook e1? Like it's... No, I mean rook e2, take rook e1. Now this I'm happy, yeah? But you said rook a7, interesting. I didn't see this. I just thought I would take on rook e1. I was wondering if you... Also taking queen e3. Don't you lose the pawn? No, but I like rook e1. I don't need queen e3. I like rook e1.
Yes, because somehow it's...
yeah, okay, it's not all about pawns.
On b5, on e2.
There's also dignity.
Knight on g5 has an important square. That's true. So in this position, queen d5 I go.
Queen d3?
I control the white square. Queen c4. Okay, queen d3.
Yeah, small pluses here, I guess. I guess knight e5, take, b3, small pluses there. By the way, you know, maybe after bishop h6, you can go queen d5. When you want queen d6. Maybe you can try to
Yeah, actually, I was thinking for a second if I
try to
can
gain
go
a
there.
tempo or something like this, and then bishop takes d6.
So bishop comes
Small
back.
tempo. Yeah, you gained like bishop d6 move extra. Oh, even d3. Oh yeah, you can even go for intermezzo. Very nice,
Yeah.
d3. Here is a much better version for you than what we've seen so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there's nothing here, let's think one more time. If there's nothing here, there's nothing anywhere, I think.
So after knight g6, what white is going to be doing? Not much of an option. So you also mentioned queen d5, but I think after queen d5...
No, queen d5 was a reply to which other move is there. It's not a good move.
Yeah, but okay, let's say queen d5.
Yeah, but even queen e6, I don't think it's... and what? Queen e6,
Yeah.
you trade... Yeah, I mean, take, knight d2, c5, and that's it. Well, not that's it. Actually, not that's it, yeah. Maybe I can go d5 and play this Belloni structure.
Rook
I don't know.
e7.
Yeah, I don't know how to evaluate that here.
Are you going f4?
I would go maybe back to e8 and then f5, knight e7 again would be a huge thing. F4 would be a positional blunder because of f5, ef knight e7. Or I don't know if blunder, but let's say it would be something to allow. Oh, queen d5, just okay. Also, knight e7, where do you go? To h5?
It looks very strange.
No, it was just a
queen
reply
d5.
to what else. Yeah. No, it's not serious.
Okay, but then what else, right?
Yeah,
There is not much of an option.
Queen c2, c5, e5. Also, question is c5, e5, queen d8. I just said I don't want to make this move, but I don't see why not now. Why not? And what? DC.
And after d takes c5,
It's cleaner.
what do you do?
DC. Yeah, I don't mind bishop takes c5. I think it's always fine.
Because what do you do in bishop c5?
I will pin queen c7.
b4.
I can simply win back e5, no?
Oh.
If I want. But even even if I don't, I think this 4 against 3 things are always okay. Always holding.
Yeah, but that's maybe not the one what you want to have.
Yeah, but at the same time,
And
if it does it, it does it. Yeah. So the queen d8 is much cleaner. Yeah, queen d8 is very nice. E d c d, and just yeah, this is very clean. Yeah, I think Magnus just equalized. I think he might have been. I don't know. I think he could have been in his prep and just thinking for the show or something. I don't know. Maybe he
spent an hour already until.
Yeah, but what is he preparing then? If you know what I mean? Like then it's suspicious. Yeah, he's not spending an hour, but making the good moves. Yeah, that somehow work out. Suspicious. What is then that? What are they preparing then? If not D3.
Yes, okay, but this is not the only line which they had to be preparing for.
Kind of. I mean, by this point, a4 would be 8. Okay, Jan already played. No, but it's what I mean. They for sure have to take into account h3, d3, and then yeah, what move would surprise them?
Let's make a little summary for our new viewers if they came just now. What has happened today? So it's a lead by Magnus. He's leading 3.5, 2.5 in the match. And Jan is playing with the white pieces. We had Rai Lopez again repeating rook b8 after a4 by Magnus. And then a little deviation was with white, right, compared to the previous game. And white played d3. And Magnus started to go to a very clean plan to go h6, rook e8, going back with the bishop, and then going with the knight, replacing it from c6 towards to e7 and g6 where it's standing. It is a very solid way of playing, right? And it will be very difficult for white to gain some really serious idea which can pose difficulties for Magnus. Definitely white wants to control the center, so white reached out to play d4 by move 17. And then this was a surprising decision by Magnus to give up the center temporary, we can say, because obviously white captured with the pawn on c4, on d4, to have the 2 pawns in the center. And now something very concrete started to be happening, knight g6 attacking the e4 pawn. So what do you think, what will be the outcome of this?
I think it is surprising at first, like if you don't think about it, it kind of surprises you. But now that we have looked at it and we see queen to c5, the moment you delve into this, it looks like just a good decision. Yeah, it just looks like a very convincing equalizer. And I don't know whether he had seen similar ideas in his prep or if he found it over the board. It could be that he prepares only the sharp lines, and he just thinks as long as it's some play, I will play myself. Though knowing how people prepare, I don't know. I think he's kind of choosing over the board. Maybe he improvised this. Either way, it seems very strong. I don't see. I was surprised at first because I didn't see it coming. But the moment you see Queen C2 C5, and okay, very little for white, and two pieces have been traded. Black is fighting for the center after all. And
what happens if white goes D5?
Yeah, I wanted to ask that question as well.
So somehow keep the tension. I have the A5.
No, it's a must to if you want to fight for something.
Yeah, if you go knight E5, then white goes knight D2. C4. What is this?
Yeah, let's see what's up there. Let's take. Can we go move back as well? Could I fight for the A file with rook A8 instead of knight E5, or is that not a good idea?
I don't want to play knight D5.
Maybe it's good. Oh wait, knight E5, knight D2. Can I go knight C4, or that's very risky? But maybe I activate my rook by force.
Knight C4.
Yeah, it's a very dubious position because take AB1. If you get bishop D2, bishop C3, I could be very unhappy about what I've done.
Yeah, I mean here it can be one-way story.
Yeah. So the C4 move, yeah. Okay, let's go C4.
Well, I would like to get the D3 knight, right? Which game 2 we demonstrated how tough a knight on D3 can be.
Bishop D4, yeah.
Bishop D4, queen goes to G5, let's say. G5 or G6?
Yeah, these positions are very hard to understand. Also, I'm slightly unhappy that my bishop on F8 is still not in the game. But compared to Benoni, I haven't played G6, bishop G7, which on one hand, my bishop is passive, on the other, my king side structure is a bit more safe, though it wouldn't be an issue here. Maybe I would go G6 at some point. Yeah, this D5 would be, after C5, D5 would be a very principled way of playing. Let's see once again after D5 what's going on there, how to regroup, how to activate the pieces. So you would think that the bishop on F8 is kind of the culprit and needs to be activated, right?
Yes, but for the moment, black cannot activate his bishop at all.
Yeah, but
only in a later stage with G6 and bishop G7. And that has to be...
Magnus is in some danger of falling asleep. By the way, knight H4.
Yes, I also
knight D2, queen G6.
Thought about
G3. that. There is no follow-up, and I'm losing the knight after king H1. Next move. Kind of risky. I could suddenly lose the knight like this. Next move, king H1, lose the knight. Yeah, well, let's not lose the knights. Let's go back. Yeah, so what was this rook A8? Not impressed, yeah? Rook A8.
If rook A8...
Because maybe it takes the file, I don't know.
What about playing bishop E2, bishop D2, let's say?
Okay. I can do some concrete things. I can try some concrete things. Maybe take 95.
Take 95. Yeah, and you want to say that, what do I want?
Yeah.
White.
I don't know, it's very hard to assess. But of course, things can become very double-edged. If black gets to activate his knight in a proper manner, then this Benoni structure on the queen side, of course, could be of quite some value. Very, very complex. Very complex.
Yeah, rook a8 actually makes a lot of sense.
I don't know, honestly, if rook 8 is great or not, but knight e5 also feels like... Knight e5 c4 also feels like something that could be good, but I don't know. Knight e5 c4 is more direct. So let's say knight e5, knight e2 c4. I ask, what about knight d3? If you go bishop d4, I go queen g6, let's say, and I say that, okay, are you then really going to take on e5 or still knight d3? If you take on e5, okay, you give up the bishop. D takes, probably, yeah. Sorry, rook takes probably. And rook d5, by the way, is kind of a threat. And otherwise, maybe f5 or something. I don't know, Benoni remains very difficult, difficult pawn structure to deal with. Especially because the bishop is on f8 now makes it very unusual.
I don't like this bishop on f8.
You like?
I'm not crazy about it.
No, it disturbs me very much that the bishop is on f8. It's really disturbing because I'm used to it on g7 and I know how to handle it. And once it's on f8, somehow it's bothering me. They're so passive. So I'm not so sure.
But black doesn't look so bad here.
I think if Jan wants to play for a win, this is probably what he should do. But I don't know if it's...
But I'm not sure white is better at all.
No, I mean, it could be 3 results. But I think that if you don't go d5, strategically speaking, there is very little to fight for. So d5 is kind of...
Yeah, d5 keeps the structure interesting.
Yeah, it keeps the game alive for sure. But maybe you don't want it alive as white at this point. I have to say that today's game, it is as though the previous game didn't happen. Like neither side adjusted the strategy at all, which makes a lot of sense because they didn't have time to adjust. They finished very late and there was no rest day, so they just stuck to what they intended in case of. But basically, it's as though the score is equal. They play the same way. Jan is going for small plus. Magnus is okay with small minus.
Yes, but what can you do in Spanish? This is what you do. You try.
No, exactly. Jan could have easily, and I think Jan will change the strategy, but he didn't have the time, and maybe rightly so. He decided not to do it now. Like while you are still in the turmoil of this 3-game chunk, just stick to what was the plan. And if you are still down 1 point and there is a rest day, then you can readjust. I think at some point Jan will readjust the strategy. I think the Spanish business is just not bringing him much. It's nice, the Spanish positions, when you are equal on score, but when you are in a must win, at some point it's going to feel too thin.
Well, they are going to have the next game tomorrow on Sunday, and after that, the free day, Nepo is back with the white pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So this can be a strategy, though.
Very much so. Yeah. Though tomorrow, I think Magnus will play it very safe. But how much patience Jan will have to defend with black in minus, when you are down on the score, to defend with black, it's an ungrateful task.
But I think Magnus will not be playing for a draw. He will play a normal game because I think that's how he should.
But I think he will not play anymore. He will not anymore allow Jan to equalize from the opening and get a fresh position. I think he will just go for some theory where it's like slightly better, and it's going to be Jan has to defend. So I think Magnus will definitely not go some like this G3 allowing a bunch of options. He will just stick to some main line where Jan has to show precision and just make him defend. I don't see why Magnus would have to complicate things with white now.
I think it's always an issue how to handle the actual tournament or match situation, right? Like, are you rook e c1? Look at that.
Yeah, I dismissed all these rook c1 things. I saw them, but I thought the rook e4, rook c7. How expensive can it be? But in fact, besides rook e4, rook c7, what if c5 simply?
I was sure that you're going to say c5. You want to simplify, right?
Yeah,
you just want to give up a pawn and you want to make a draw. But why do you give up the pawn?
Oh, I didn't even realize it. No, but wait. Why did you give it up? I could take on e4 first.
Ah, here.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
There's just
I know,
nothing.
but you know what he wants to go? After c5, he wants to go e5.
And again, queen d8.
Rook a7.
Rook a7, c4, c4. Rook a7,
No,
you have
c4
c4.
you have.
DC, I have DC as well. Bishop c5, 95. 95.
Okay, DC, DC. Bishop c5, you go knight e5. And let's say
do you think he just wants to make a draw, or
rook a7?
Yeah, but I just protect, yeah, like queen e8 or something. Yeah. Okay, wait. You have some back rank. Wait, I should be careful. You have some back rank things. No, 7th rank things with take and rook c7. Queen, maybe one active move. Queen f6, bishop d4. Queen g5. Yeah, queen f6, bishop d4. Yeah, that's the problem. Queen e6, but shaky. Okay, maybe queen g3, rook e1.
Well,
yeah, that's a queen f6. Queen e6.
Yeah, and you want to change rook e1.
Rook e1. Yeah, this is okay. Rook d8 or something. Unless there is something immediate, I guess it's okay. Can you go back for a second? I was wondering about one thing.
c5 is on the board.
Yeah, c5, of course. So I was wondering about DC. DC.
Well, if black can go c4...
No, not this. I was wondering about e5. Sorry, e5 first.
What's the idea?
No, not here. e5 before DC,
sorry.
Of course. Yeah, e5 first. Queen. I'm not sure about queen d8. Okay, queen d8.
Queen f5 maybe.
Yeah. I think maybe. No, but now ed and knight d4.
Now ed. But ed c4 you don't
c4.
like?
Oh yeah, I forgot about it. Yeah, of course c4. Okay, c4 is great. So DC maybe instead. Yeah, queen f5 is great. Yeah, no, this is of course fantastic for black. DC, bishop c5,
knight e5.
Yeah, it's even cleaner. Yeah, this is the probably cleanest. Yeah, queen f5 just. Yeah, queen d8 was not here. Queen d8 was in the other line, but the queen couldn't have a 5 square. Now, of course, I got to f5. No need, because I was actually, my point was that after queen d8, I wanted some rook a7 after take bishop c5, knight e5. But now there's no rook a7. No, this is nothing.
Queen on f5 stands fantastic.
I don't know what he was thinking, by the way, Jan. I don't see the point. What is he thinking? What is his point? Does he just want to make a draw? Possible, very possible.
The players are out of the fish tank.
Very possible, because maybe there is nothing and he's just okay with the draw.
You think so, that he got such a shock yesterday that he's okay with the draw today?
I mean, it's not just a shock. It's not just a shock. It's that the position, there is nothing. I think this take on knight g6 is just very strong.
It was a very nice idea by Magnus.
Very nice. And it is so nice that I'm suspecting that he might have seen it before. He can come up with it by himself, but it's, of course, not the usual way, no?
No, I think there is an idea. Just, I think there is something like this, but it's not very common, for sure.
In these Archangel Spanishes, it's a thing, EDCD knight g6. When you have a bishop on b7 and rook on e8, and you open the files, you go EDCD knight g6, you hit e4 pawn, and then you go c5. So in Archangels, it is there. Sometimes it's very good, sometimes very bad. So it's kind of, but here, yeah, maybe it was obvious for him. It took me some time to realize
like he's really equalizing,
like fully,
right?
But now very cleanly. Yeah, it seems as though white doesn't even want to pretend that he's on the good side. It's bishop f8 here, knight f8, and just totally equal.
Well,
yeah, so I have to say I'm picking the right days for my commentary. Yesterday I skipped one.
I would pick even black more than white here.
Yeah, I understand what you mean, but it's not really. I think it's not objective. Queen d3. Let's say I don't. If your knight was on f4, maybe, but knight on f8.
Queen d3, rook b4.
b3. I mean, I don't think you can speak of being on a good side here.
I don't know. Knight f4. You okay?
You are very black is very comfortable. That's why you like black. I understand.
I'm just saying that knight on f4 is somewhat more valuable. I mean,
I don't think you can speak of black playing for a win. Yeah, but let's say queen. Okay, I understand what you mean. Yeah, sometimes when black equalizes so nicely, it feels like black is on the good side.
But isn't it a nice side for black?
I think it's like the kind of situation that if you paint the pieces differently, you would be liking black anyway. I think that people like black equalizing. I think it's a thing. It's some kind of a psychological
No,
thing.
I like black's position.
You sure? Can you try to paint the pieces and see if you would like then white? Like imagine that it's knight f6 and knight g3.
I cannot paint the pieces, but I can switch.
No, switch the board doesn't count. I mean to paint the pieces. We need to paint. We need our producer to paint.
I know. I had this argument quite a few times in World Championship matches, also when I was commentating, that sometimes we do say that white is better or the other way around, just because we see the color that, okay, black should be equalizing, playing for equalization, while white is playing for only for an advantage, and then suddenly you would realize if we would paint the pieces. True, I agree.
One time, I mean, what I know for sure, the kind of positions that I lose with white, I would definitely hold with black because the mindset is different.
This is extremely interesting what you're saying.
Yeah, I've noticed. I've lost some games that I know that with black I would just never lose. Like, but just somehow with white, just the fact that I have to defend it in a sad way, it makes me just disgusted with myself. While with black, I think, okay, it's normal. It was the plan all along, you know, to be sad. So it's a thing for sure, for sure.
Very interesting.
Yeah, they are absent a lot, I have to say. They're absent a lot.
Probably they have a very comfortable room.
Very comfortable room. They probably have free snacks. Free snacks are there.
They have the refreshments and they can walk in the behind the scene.
Probably have nuts. Area. Very addictive. Just nuts. They keep chewing the nuts. Might be some food.
Actually, this knight g6 idea was nice, but you know, it's funny that I think Magnus has a very positive attitude to knights, because this will be something which you're going to be smiling on me, I think. I played with him in a rapid tournament back 2010 in Norway, and in a small city. And I was preparing against him. And I was preparing, and then I told my husband, you know what? The only thing I will be paying attention that I want to exchange his knights. And I did exchange his knights, and I was winning in the end. And if you look at that, look at his games. I think he's playing better with knights on the board.
Wow, could be. And I mean, Vichy is very well known for that. Like Vichy is just for sure a big Knights fan. You can just see on all of his opening choices. By the way, just one thing. Okay, so far Knights are doing very well for Magnus. One thing though, Rook e1, c5. So why not Rook ac1 instead of Rook e1? Why didn't he play Rook ac1? Just one question. Because c5 now I go DC, bishop c5, and it's a different story. Okay, if you want Rook e4, Rook c7, okay, then get it here. Why not?
So what are you saying? That this is simply not good because the e4 pawn is protected?
Yeah, I mean, okay.
He went e5, by the way. So now we're waiting queen f5, right?
Yeah, but it will be just mass trades. DC, bishop c5, knight e5, yeah. Yeah, but Rook ac1 no was then possible if you wanted. I think Rook ac1 was better to keep on going. So Rook e4, Rook c7, then play this if you want. I don't think this is a big deal at all, like Queen f5 or something. But if you want this position, maybe you can get it like that. Of course, Rook on a1 would be nicer here. That's why. But okay, at least you avoid c5.
Yes, because another rook can show up on a7, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's why he did it. By the way, this c5, e5, do you think we missed something? Well, the Queen f5 is just a clear equality. Because I doubt.
I like Queen f5 because it's controlling the white square so beautifully.
It's a very pretty square. Also, you cannot hit the queen because g4 knight.
I think this is the question: whether after e takes d, c4, and if queen b4, queen d5, right? Rook a6, rook d8.
Yeah, the moment I recapture the d6 pawn, I'm just better, yeah, without any questions, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's a very risky approach. I don't think allowing c4 is a possibility. I think it's just the DC, bishop c5, knight e5, and complete sterilization.
Yeah, I mean, here it looks like everything is fine for black.
Not to say that, okay, queen d8, by the way, still was there, but queen f5 is just a bit nicer, yeah?
Queen f5 is like such a powerful move, I think. Really, the queen is completely untouchable. The question is, if after queen f5, if d takes c5, you go d takes c5, right?
Always, yeah.
And after bishop c5, knight e5.
Yeah, I mean, this here, I'm after this, I'll just refuse to work because it's all clear without commentators. I'll go on a break after this position. I'll say, okay, guys, now you can do it yourself, dear viewers. You don't need me anymore.
And what happens if d takes c5? D takes c5. And I go, let's say, e4.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you can, but the Magnus is you very much can. But with this match situation, it's kind of it's not necessary, right, to take risk with black. It's a very strange decision. But objectively speaking, it could very well be good. But it's not obvious that it's good. And as soon as it's not obvious, I mean, c6, I don't know, just not clear. Why to do it? I mean, you can
no, it
draw on the
looks
spot.
pretty risky.
You can just draw on the spot, yeah. Why to rock the boat, yeah, it's such good. And tomorrow is white. I don't know. If Magnus was chasing, it would be very likely that would happen. But
queen f5 is on the board.
Yeah, a very easy day for Magnus incoming, I think.
I'm not sure Jan was considering this move seriously when he played rook e c1.
But it's pretty easy, pretty natural. And queen c2, c5, e5. Queen d8 is something you consider. So you sort of see all these ideas. Queen e6 you consider. Like, I think it's not a complicated position to kind of figure
but maybe this is why he might have been missing queen f5 with the line that you just said, that previously what we looked, queen c2 we were considering, right? This was the main move for us. And after that, if c5, e5, you don't have queen f5.
Okay, I have one question for you though. Okay, if let's say this what happens, because this kind of things happens a lot, yeah? So rook c1, c5, e5, queen d8. Yeah, let's me go queen d8 anyway. And how are you going to fight for advantage? Let's say here, yeah, rook c1, c5, e5, and let's say you don't see queen f5, you go queen d8. I just think that Jan was no longer ambitious in general, but maybe maybe he missed something. But here also, no, it's kind of, I had some try with dc, bishop c5, but I didn't really believe in it.
Yes, bishop but you C5, know, in this position, you still think that, okay, with white, maybe you find something. With the queen on f5, it's nothing. It's like...
Yeah, okay, I see what you mean. But here also, you don't really think that maybe. I mean, you think like maybe, but you know deep inside that nothing is there, right?
Okay, but or here rook a7?
Rook a7, yeah, rook a7, okay. But I just don't, maybe queen d3 is
knight
there.
c4.
Queen d3, knight c4. There are surely multiple ways of doing it. Queen d3, I think, is quite...
Yeah, but knight f5 is a very annoying move, I must say.
Queen f5, it's very clear cut.
I think it's very annoying. After he takes he went d takes c5, d takes c5,
yeah.
And we are heading to some simplification.
Very natural. After a long day, players tend to be okay with simplification.
Well, it's not only a long day, but a marathon day of the...
Yes, but now I don't know, like, maybe Jan can convince himself that this is a good idea to draw today, and okay, probably is. But every draw, regardless of the color, but especially with white, still will feel for Jan as, you know, it's not satisfying. It's not satisfying.
Well, to lose the game 6, it was something that obviously it put him in a very difficult situation. First of all, because he lost. And secondly, because it was extremely long and painful loss, right? I mean, if he would have been losing the game in game 2, because it was a messy game and, okay, something like that happens, it would be by far less painful than it was for him. Yesterday, actually today, because they were playing so long that it was after midnight that it finished, and even after that they had to go for a press conference, which was a complete torture for them. That was must have been incredibly painful for both of them, but especially Jan. And as you pointed out, that he didn't have much time to prepare and to recover.
Yeah, he didn't have much time to prepare something different. So this game, it would have been perfectly fine if the score was equal. Now it's also fine, but it's he was saying already that that you are not feeling great with white, not winning a game with white. But especially when you're down on the score, it's okay. It's not bad, but it's slightly unpleasant aftertaste for him. And tomorrow is going to be not a fun game. I mean, you are already one down. You are tired. You have black.
But don't forget that Jan is not doing badly at all with the black pieces. He created from a very difficult opening in game 2. He created for himself great chances. He was better, clearly.
Exactly, but that's because I feel once again that that's because Magnus was in a different mindset. Magnus was in a mindset of creating chances. Now Magnus is in a mindset of playing for a small symbolic plus, and I don't think we will see any imbalance. I don't think we will see pawn sacrifices. I don't think we will see any weird. I don't even think he will need to show any novelties. I think he might just play some theoretical line, which is just very small plus, and make Jan.
But that's not his style, I think. That's not his style, that Magnus will just go in a line where with black he has to go for a repetition of moves or something.
Not repetition, but not repetition usually. That's not his style. But some just kind of end game, which is you are on the good side, you have a slightly better knight or whatever, slightly better bishop, or something like there are so many lines like in the whatever Jan plays in the Petrovs and the Catalans. There are all these small tries, small lines. Like I am. All my life I'm playing those, and there are plenty of them. Sometimes you even win, so it's nice, and he can definitely do one of those. I don't think he will create anything weird.
Don't you find it interesting that Magnus is thinking right now? Is he thinking to play knight f4?
Yeah, I think he is thinking because it could be the last thing of the game, and he.
What do you play on knight f4?
He thinks now or never. A knight f4. Like for real, yeah? Ah, you think that maybe some chance? Yeah, knight e2.
I don't know, knight e2 is a threat, knight d3 is a threat.
Knight e3 is a threat. Oh, he thinks maybe Jan blundered. But Jan didn't blunder, did he? Queen c2, knight h3, king h2 I have. Yeah,
but after, yeah.
No, this is not great. Okay, let's go back. I don't want to allow knight h3. Let's go back. Ah, maybe he thinks that Jan suddenly blundered knight f4, but let's see. Where is knight d4?
Knight f4 too for the moment.
Wait a second, what's going on?
I mean, maybe queen e3, knight d3, knight h4 you have. Maybe just simply, no?
Yeah, but you can play queen e5 there, Nicholas.
No, you can go queen e3 and on knight d3, bishop f8, knight c1, bishop d6.
Yes, and I can do that everywhere, actually. I can do that everywhere. This bishop d6 thing is there.
Yeah. No, I think he's just looking at it just to make sure that he does not have more.
Yeah, it could be like, sometimes people on the way to a draw, they make blunder, and then you can collect on that, capitalize on that.
And I'm telling you, this queen on f5 is so good.
Also, besides knight f4, queen e3 that he has to see, you can choose bishop takes c5, knight e5, or knight e5 first. Both are quite
clean. Knight e5 first.
Yeah, I would also go knight e5, obviously. I don't see why to activate the white.
There is no reason why you should be.
Yeah, none, yeah. But actually, it's fully equal as well. Because after knight e5, you have knight f3 discovery. And if king h1, I have some queen d3 or whatnot. So it's very, very doable. But knight takes e5 is very comfortable. Yeah, you're just making sure knight f4 is not anything. Just queen e3, knight d3, bishop f8, knight c1, bishop d6, very clean. Yeah.
Yeah, and black cannot come up with something original here.
Okay, I'll take a small break. I'll be back in a moment. But guys, they always, when they have commentary, commentators always try to make it look like it's still exciting because they don't want people to leave, yeah? So it's kind of a thing. So you see sometimes like somebody plays a match and it's like 20 against 5. It's completely clear it's finished, but they're like, oh no, but I believe he can still strike back in the bullet section, this, that. But yeah, it's very hard at some point to keep that going.
And it is always possible that something happens.
Yeah, that is for sure. But I would mostly stick around for wisdom from Judith and press conference. So, but I think in terms of the result of the game, if you ever want to make a safe bet, now is the time.
Yes, in this game, we definitely think it's going to be a draw, most likely, and I think we are not far from that. We may see just few moves in this game. But let's have a recap just a little bit. So if we have new people, new audience who wants to join in, it was again a Rai Lopez. It was 3 bishop b5 a6. We had the same opening as in round 5, as game 5 it was, and Magnus repeated the idea rook b8, which was not clear whether he's going to be going here or he will be choosing something else. As up to now, in every game, he was choosing another idea because bishop b7 and also b4 is the other move. So he chose rook b8, and after that, Jan deviated with playing d3 because previously I think it was c3 and black played b4 very quickly, and there was elimination of the b pawns. Though in that game, Jan had a great game and he had great opportunities, but of course, Magnus for sure, he fixed the opening there. And after d3, black played very simple way, h6, knight c3, rook e8, with a quite simple and nice plan and very normal, very regular plan in the Rai Lopez, where black is putting his rook on e8, bishop goes back to f8. And the idea is that black will be putting his bishop either to e6, or as it was in the game, black can also use the e7 square for his knight and transfer it to g6. This is another idea. And Jan was playing very solid, and he played only now c3 and playing with the d4 idea. In this position, bishop e6 was the other alternative for Magnus, but at this point, it seemed like Magnus might be, I'm not saying playing for a win, but maybe he just preferred to keep the bishops on the board and transfer his knight possibly to g6 and to f4 and have a complicated game. Bishop e3 was played, not d4 immediately, though d4 is something I was expecting more. Right now, knight g6 would have been a blunder because white would go bishop a7, attacking the rook, and the rook moves to b7 or to a8. Then bishop d5 would be capturing, trapping the rook on b7. And but here, this is the reason why bishop e6 was played. And after d4, something very interesting happened because black just took on d4. And usually, if you play the Rai Lopez, you don't give up the center just like that for nothing. But it was not for nothing because after cd4, black captured the bishop on b3, and after queen b3, knight g6, immediately attacking the e4 pawn. And right now, white has difficulty how to defend. We were considering queen c2 at first. In the game, it was rook c1, but the idea is same for black. Black can just get rid of the weak pawn from c7 playing c5. e5, white would be kind of happy to have a passed pawn if black would be capturing on e5. But in this position after e5, the extremely powerful move was played, queen f5. And now white had nothing better than to simplify the position. Black took on e5 in this position. No, sorry, in the game it was bishop takes c5. So this was the decision by Magnus that he just wants to take, and now to take knight e5. We considered immediately knight e5 was more sympathetic, or I don't know, somehow looked better, but I think Magnus just wants to force a draw here because right now white cannot move away with his knight because the knight f3 and the c6 rook is unprotected. So after knight c5, after knight e5, it seems that there should be an exchange of knights. which would lead to definitely a very quick agreement of a draw between the players if there is a simplification this way. I see the only move which can avoid the exchange of knights is by white playing king h1, which after I think black has several ideas. I think maybe queen d3 seems to looks maybe the best move because black wants to simplify the position, exchange the queen, and of course the king on h1 in endgame will definitely not be standing well, and the f2 pawn is also under attack or it's not protected. So let's see what will be the move, but I have a strong feeling that maybe white will be, well, there's a nice line, maybe rook a7, for example, is something, a nice move by white, but it's not going anywhere because after knight takes, black cannot take on c5 because black receives checkmate, but black will be taking on f3, takes, and I think the simplest is to play rook e6 and going to rook f6 to defend the f7 pawn. And we see on the board rook takes, knight takes, knight, rook takes e5, rook takes e5, queen e5. And now I think the players will just simply find a way of repeating moves because this is what is expected. They cannot offer a draw before move 40. So this is why I'm saying that they will be finding a way of repeating moves because in this position, for sure, none of the players have any idea to play for a win. White played queen c3. Obviously, it's going to be exchanged. And just within a few moves, they have to be playing it out because it's only move 27. So I'm sure they are going to be finding a repetition of moves. So it was quite an easy game for both players. They still had to be making interesting ideas, like what we talked before, the way Magnus have been playing and deciding. Liquidation in the center, and it was a nice way of playing by Magnus because he's leading in the match. He keeps his lead, and now I think it's going to be rook c1, rook king h2, rook c2, and finally they did find the way of repeating moves so they can finish the game before move 40 because otherwise it's not possible. It's against the rules of the World Championship match that they cannot offer a draw, either of them. So now they're going to be going back and forth, shaking hands. And finally, that we had a pretty short game today. It was not more than 2.5 hours, contrary to the game yesterday, which was going all the way into today's day, beginning of the day, closing up the expo itself. Interestingly enough, they did not repeat the moves. How is it possible that they did not repeat the moves? I mean, this is definitely not the most interesting part of the match.
Very nice.
You're going to see more interesting parts still to come.
No, but like my break was very efficient, yeah. It was short. It was short, but it was very efficient. They just traded everything.
But I just can't believe it that they didn't make repetition of moves, you know? And they still play it out. It's like finally I'm hoping to make some repetition of moves, but they're so happy. They cannot lose anything. And look how seriously they are doing
now
it.
They repeat, yeah. Now nothing can go wrong, they repeat. No, but very understandable after yesterday's crazy game that today somehow they both strive for some sort of energy consuming activity. Subconsciously, maybe, if anything else.
Here we have some very interesting noise. It's like fireworks or something different, but it has some very energetic noise.
That's expo. That's expo for you. Yeah.
Yeah. They always have action.
They keep making moves instead of 3-fold.
I just don't believe it. It's like, it seems like they are happy. They forgot that they can make it. Ah, no, they shake hands and it's a draw. Finally. Both players are happy, it seems. Well, it took so much energy from both players, the game yesterday.
By the way, I would like to note that you feel now some hostility between the players. No? A bit more than before.
Sorry?
Like, or maybe it was just me, but I just felt that there was some hostility between the players. Like they were a bit less friendly than usual.
I don't know, but it's
now they discussed the game.
understandable if it goes in that direction. I
Yeah, but
think.
now they did discuss the game, so probably
They discussed the game, and they were very, very correct, and they behaved.
Yeah, for sure.
Real sportsmen yesterday, which must have been extremely painful for especially Jan.
Yeah, it was not an easy press conference, I imagine.
I'm pretty sure that some of the questions will be still about yesterday's game, because that.
No, I actually missed queen f5. I thought like maybe it becomes complex, but yeah, could be interesting if you just take on the 5, dc5, e4, and so on. Yeah.
Yesterday, it was so. It was not sharp at all. It was quite positional. And even I saw some of the other broadcasts, they considered, of course, that it will be a draw anyway. And it's so interesting that, let's say, Jan makes a genius defense in move. Well, I don't know if move 130, whatever, but he keeps the draw, which would be a miracle. And then would people still say that oh, it's boring chess? So sometimes it's tricky because those two players, Magnus and Nepo, they did really work very hard yesterday. Whether the end would have been a draw or decisiveness.
Yeah, for sure. Regardless, but still, decisive result is something different. And today's game definitely influenced by the previous one for sure, if not directly, then indirectly, as the players.
Today we have
chosen
not
the safe
this
path.
Smile of Magnus. It's just after a tough game, and probably we're gonna have his thoughts.
You can smile forever, yeah.
Magnus, after a dramatic game 6, satisfied with the way things went today?
Yeah, it was fine. It was kind of the usual that he was a little bit better, and I had to gradually equalize. And I think I did that okay. Probably his only chance there at the end was to play rook a to c1 instead of rook e to c1, and then trade e7, e4 for c7. And I thought he was a little bit better, but very, very little and unrealistic that he can play for win. I thought I'd gradually equalize there as well.
Was energy a factor today?
Yeah, I couldn't really sleep yesterday. was way too excited. So, but all the way today, I was thinking like I'm tired, but it's probably a lot worse for him.
And you're sticking to your opening strategy with the black pieces. What's not broken, why fix it seems to be the approach?
Yeah, it's not like the positions I'm getting are lovely, but I seem to be able to extricate myself, and they seem to be fairly common sense. So in that sense, it's working okay. Yeah, the games obviously aren't very exciting when I'm playing black.
Are you expecting Jan to go sharper with his next white?
Yeah, I kind of expected him to play a bit carefully again today, seeing as you don't want to tilt after a game like yesterday. I don't know if it's going to change very soon, but at some point, obviously, it has to.
Thanks.
So we could see that Magnus was excited. Yesterday's game, of course, he could not sleep so well, he said. That's what he shared. Did you have...
He shared a lot, yeah. I shared a bit too much for... but of course, he's very happy leading in the match. And so he feels very comfortable sharing more than he usually would. First of all, it's not necessary to say that you have sleeping issues, though. And also, the fact that he expected Jan to do this is also giving some of his thought process away. But he's confident nonetheless. He held the game very easily. So why not?
It was interesting also that he said that you brought up when we were talking about instead of rook e c1, rook ac1 would be still a little bit better for white, but it wouldn't be a big deal, right? So at that point, it seemed that Jan silently offered a draw, right? Because it was kind of forced simplification. All the pawns got simplified in the center, bishop, rook, knight, everything got simplified. So this game was not long, right? It was all 30-something move, and it was clear already at move 24 that it's a draw. Nothing else can happen in this game anymore. And we can say that Nepo just wants to, probably he was ready to make a draw, and tomorrow with new energy, but moreover, definitely, probably they are waiting the free day, and after the free day to strike back somehow. Though I'm very curious in with what mindset Jan will be playing tomorrow's game 8.
I think tomorrow is also not the time for him to change anything. Just try to be solid, like he was. He clearly has his solid openings prepared, so just stick to that. And if Magnus gives him easy life, that's perfect. Then he has the rest day and the striking opportunity the day after. Magnus could, of course, he could try to exploit momentum and go for it again tomorrow, but I don't know. I think he's so happy that he's finally leading that he will also not overpress. But we'll see. We will see, because the pressure is also on Magnus when he is having black pieces towards the end. Imagine just 1-2 games left. You have the black, you must not lose. Not easy, but probably Magnus won't take too many risks. I expect another solid game tomorrow, but we'll see.
Well, we are moving into the second half of the World Championship match, because with today's game, game 7, it's halfway, and actually only 7 games to go. So Nepo really has to be thinking out the strategy. Which are the points, which games are the ones where he will have practical chances, where he wants to sharpen things out. And so this is, you see the schedule of the matches, as now we are going to have one more, and then on the 6th, it's going to be a free day. And then...
But actually it's good for Nepo, because he's got a rest day and white on the 7th, and he's got a rest day and white on the 10th. So
yes, but
he has like
it was the other way around before.
Yeah, but now it kind of works out. No, of course, but I mean, now with the tournament situation, that works out well for him. He kind of has 2 must-win games where, because it's always nice to have a rest day before those, I feel, you can gather some energy, a bit more prep than usual. So kind of 2 striking opportunities for him. Of course, it could be that the first one backfires, and then that will be kind of it. But
I think now it's going to be extremely difficult for the players, regardless how the result is actually developing, because we see that on the weekends they are having 3 games again next weekend. So we have tomorrow game, we have a free day. After that, we have 2 games they are playing. They have again a free day, but then they have to go game 11, 12, and 13 without a break. So that's where things are going to be speeding up. And of course, the players are getting more and more tired. So it will be really exciting how it's going to be unfolding from game 8.
I think by that point, very likely also things will really happen, because the way I see it, I predict a draw tomorrow. I think it's very, very likely. I think both sides have reasons to aim for it in some way. And then I think if Jan, if when you're must win against Magnus, a real must win, your odds of losing are as high as your odds of winning. You still take those shots, you have to, but the chances of it backfiring are very, very high. So I think very likely by the time we reach that segment, the final segment of the match, things could have gone either way. Maybe Jan is already back in the match, which would completely change the nature of things. Or maybe Jan is already out of it by just overpressing because he has to. So we'll see. I think the rest day and the white game, and the one more rest in the white game will really be decisive factor, unless Magnus decides to try his luck with white, which I don't think is something he will.
Well, now we are waiting for the players to move from the exhibition center hall to the media center, which is about 6, 7, 8 minutes with a small buggy, it's called here, little cars, open cars, which goes extremely slowly, but they take from one place to another the players, and after that we're going to be hearing the press conference. In the meantime, I want to bring up some very serious question, because I think before Game 6, up to that, there were so many talks, especially since and during the 2018 World Championship, which was played between Caruana and Carlsen. All the classical games were drawn. And then in this World Championship, it started out with 5 draws. So people started again picking up the topic that is the World Championship has to be changed in its format, whatever way. And of course, I knew exactly that when there is going to be a decisive game, not to talk about the one we had yesterday, obviously people tend to forget it. So my question is to you, Anish, what do you think about the World Championship format? And do you think is there a need, no matter what is going to be the outcome of this match, how many games it's going to be decisive? Are we really have to consider, and International Federation FIDE should be seriously considering to change something on this?
I think they probably should be sort of alert. Alert in the sense that if things stop working out, then they should be able to quickly readjust. But you know, now it's hard to speak about it because we even have a decisive game. But even if we didn't, the viewership is pretty high. The sponsors are still showing up, and the risk is if you make it so-called more exciting format, okay, you actually make it more exciting for those who are really into it in some way. Well, actually, the middle people, like those who are really into it, the top guys, the professionals, they are happy either way. They like the match as well because of the content, the professional content, the prep, and so on. You've got people who have no clue about anything at all. They just want to see. They just see the bar and stuff. They just have no clue. They just don't even know the name of the other guy. They know Carlsen something from some Scandinavian country. And you've got those, which is huge. But you've got this middle pack, which sort of understands something. They like, you know, the check and checkmate and bishop takes f7, but not really the other things. And those people, they're the ones complaining the most, I think. And I'm not sure how big that group is actually, how big we care about that group.
I have to tell you that I've heard many complaints from professionals as well, especially after London. I mean, I just nonstop, whoever I bumped in, grandmaster, amateurs, there was mix of people who were telling that, come on, I mean, this is the end of chess. You cannot play like this. I understand that they are fighting it out, but still.
Yeah, okay, even professionals, but let's say that some professionals are also unhappy, then still, it's still a small group of people. The viewership yesterday, let's say, if you let's say averaging 100,000 viewers, let's say.
Yes, but maybe we could have millions of people watching.
Yeah, but yes, but there's a contradiction. So why do you satisfy the hundreds of people? Like these grandmasters, and nobody cares about them because you speak about millions of people. So you have to kind of go for the big. So it's kind of unclear which audience you're trying to target and which audience wants what exactly. So I'm not sure.
When I talk about to discuss somehow to modernize the World Championship match, the question is whether is it possible to make something which where the players are challenged more in a way. For example, what do you think about having one classical game, after that next day to have 2 rapid games, the third day to have 10 blitz game, and then to start rotating again with the classical. So somehow, I mean, we are here for more than 3 weeks. Isn't it possible to make something which some parts are a little bit faster or something to make the players also challenge themselves a lot? Because if you think about it, in the classical game, there will be probably different preparation than, let's say, in a rapid game or a blitz game. I'm not even saying that you have to give the same value in points to the blitz or the rapid. I'm just saying to make it somehow, in some cases, little
Yeah, we just don't.
Up.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if that necessarily will make viewership higher, because you have a World Rapid Championship, you have the World Blitz Championship, and the viewership there is okay, but it's not as high as now anyway. Of course, you can argue, and okay, it's very difficult to somehow make a case for World, to call it a. You can of course say it's a classical World Championship and then play Rapid and pretend nobody notices it, but it's a bit strange. So somehow I think that there is the importance of tradition, and the media, like the mainstream media, they're very slow. They're very, they're not taking any risks from what I see. Like they're not, they're just following stuff that they've always been following. And that's why also they're doing really badly for their standards. And, but still they're sort of having a biggest impact, yeah, because you should not overestimate also the way internet spreads and stuff. But somehow, I'm just not sure. But okay, basically, I think you will enjoy following it more this way. I will also enjoy following it more, but I'm not sure we will have bigger viewership if that happens. And if that's not the case, then I'm not sure sponsors are more interested, and I'm not sure that is then worth it. I just don't. I don't know if making it a more exciting chess event, because you have so many exciting chess events. Like you have. Magnus just tournament. It's fascinating, but just
the World
Championship. Yeah.
When we have the World Championship, I mean, you can see here also in Dubai that, I mean, people feel it, that something heavy, right? Something very serious is happening here. And within 10 days or so, we are going to see who is the world champion for another year or two, depending when it's going to be the World Championship match. It's the only thing is I brought up this topic because I know that when there are many draws, we always bring up this, what can be done against it, right? So I specifically wanted to discuss this when actually nobody is complaining after game 6, right?
Yeah, it's a good moment to talk. It's always a good moment to talk about issues when you're good. That's a very well-known thing.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
It's a very well-known thing. Yeah.
I think this is the moment when we have to be talking about it seriously, because this is the moment where we have, okay, we had a decisive game. Is it enough if, let's say, there is only one game out of 14 it's going to be? Because of course we have the hype, and we had an amazing game 6, and the length of the game, the interesting parts of the game, and everything. Everybody's talking about it. But still, when I was talking a few days ago with Anand about this also, and he also said, for example, that he felt, I asked him, when did you feel that something maybe might be changing or might be interesting to change? And he said, his match when he played against Gelfand, that was something he felt that maybe there's something could be changed. And in that match, if I remember well, it was they won 1 each, and then all the rest, so 1-1 and 10 draws, and only the playoff was making decisive. So this is also kind of, and in the previous 2 matches with Magnus, with Karyakin, they made 2 decisive games. They won 1 each, also the all draw. With Caruana, it was all draw, right? So we see the tendency that the players can prepare so well in a World Championship match that it's incredibly tight, even though one is number 1 and the other one is number 5 or 6, or even when it was with Karyakin. I think Karyakin was he in the top 10? I'm not sure.
Yeah, somewhere there, or in the top 20. No, but I understand your point. It's just that, okay, the players that play, they're struggling with preparation, of course, very much. That's a big issue. But they're okay if they get the million, that they get. They're not going to be the ones rocking the boat, yeah? I think what we could also consider, because, when you spoil people, they kind of lose hunger. Now, there is so little blunders. When there is a blunder, like the viewership goes nuts. Everybody goes like, wow, imagine the blunder is a normal thing. Then they'll just so maybe it's kind of a clever idea to just spoon feed the people, and just give them very little and put a very high price on it. Maybe that's the way also of looking at it. The thing is that it's a question, and nobody dares to test that hypothesis. The hypothesis is that the format as it is now brings the record breaking money and viewership. The question whether the change would be positive or negative is a risk that nobody wants to take. The FIDE doesn't want to take. And also you have some people who are very traditional about things and just want to keep these things.
Very clear that sometimes you don't want to change, and tradition is something very important. But we have to face it that there are other sports also who are going into direction to make it shorter, right? In cricket, in table tennis, in some other parts, because simply it can be enjoyable for the spectators. It's just something I think FIDE will have to consider very clearly. And for example, something is very strange for me, that how is it possible that the candidates tournament is played with different time control than the World Championship match itself?
Yeah, they're just a little bit sloppy, to be honest. I don't think there is another reason for that. Yeah, one thing that one also should consider, I believe, is that you have to realize that there are people who wouldn't watch chess in any format at all. They wouldn't watch fast chess, they wouldn't watch exciting chess, they find it all uninteresting. And maybe that's a very big group of people that, that is still there, and changing the format is not going to affect that. So
I think there are a lot of people watching and interested about chess, and I hope it's only increasing. We see already the press conference getting ready. Jan is already seated in his place. Interesting, all the time it seems like they both have their seats already. And let's see what kind of questions we are going to be receiving today. But I see that Magnus is still away, and Jan probably is not happy about that, because...
Yeah, but possibly Magnus is being... it's not his fault. Maybe he has some other commitment with another media, or maybe his car driver is just slower. Maybe they do this Mario Karting and he's losing all the time. This race with the young. Yeah.
I would request of the photographers who have not been here to follow the basic protocols, which is to make sure that you are not blocking anyone in the front nor blocking the cameras in the back. You may take pictures from the sides of the room, and the reporters who have been here only for the first time as well. Make sure that you ask your questions to the microphones on the sides, and do not touch the microphones, and please make sure that you wear your mask at all times as you ask questions, or all times while you're in the room. I'll begin the questions first for you, Jan. Yesterday's game we know was quite long and a difficult one for you. What was your strategy coming into today's game?
Basically it was the same as for another, for other games with white colors, so just try to pull something out to the opening. So, I mean, in general, I think, roughly speaking, white had quite slight advantage, but once again, in these symmetrical structures, even despite, let's say, I had the control over a file, it's like very small, and I guess it was like a nice nice line like this: bishop b3, and with the idea of c5 here, just simplifying the position. And maybe rook to c1 was slightly more a worthy try, but I guess more or less the same. Just closer to equality.
Was yesterday's game have any impact on your choice of opening today? Absolutely not.
Also, by the way, it was quite a new experience to play two games at the same day. I somehow I thought that at the World Championship match level it should be like a little bit different, other in some open tournaments, but once we start that late, it suddenly backfires and ending like after dark.
The first half of the match is over. Your feeling about how it's gone so far?
It's not going too well because in general, I guess I had quite some promising positions, and I believe also yesterday was some kind of I don't know, eclipse which prevented me from grabbing b4 pawn twice in a row. But yesterday's game was just kind of poor from both sides, I believe, especially during the time trouble. But otherwise, I think it's pretty much sensible, and it's very much fighting.
May I ask you, Magnus, after yesterday's huge fight, today's result, just what the doctor ordered?
Yeah, it's okay. I obviously remembered my first match against Vichy, where I broke through and won the fifth game, and then I managed to sort of gradually equalize with black in the sixth, and yeah, eventually win. So I was like slightly hoping that we could follow a similar scenario, but a draw is obviously a very nice result as well.
Any concerns from the opening today?
No, it was the usual. So obviously white is a tiny bit better, but as long as you cannot see a clear way to increase the advantage, it's usually going to evaporate.
We've had 7 games. The first half is over. How would you evaluate the state of the match at the moment?
No, obviously it's with yesterday's result, it's going pretty well. But it's a long way to go. Half the match still, but you know, I've made my breakthrough, so state is good.
May I ask the reporters to begin the questions? We'll begin that phase, and please go ahead.
Hello, a question for Mr. Jan Nepomniachtchi. You say yourself that you put yourself in good positions, and today you played with white. Was this a missed chance?
Today was surely no missed chances. I think for any of us, was a very, very balanced game, and I believe it was just boring.
You have still more 7 games to do it. You're 1 point under. When are you gonna attack?
Well, when time comes.
MyClientChess.com. My question is for Magnus. Magnus, I'm going to guess that when you turned your phone on yesterday, you had a slew of congratulations. Are there any that you'd like to share, the message or some prominent person?
No, I'll keep the gossip to a minimum.
Ole Kristianström, VG Norway. Quite similar question to Magnus. I guess Borussia Dortmund, Bayern München is your first choice tonight. So what does Erling Braut Haaland and you have in common?
I think we're both relentless when we get the chance. But yeah, that's high on my to-do list after the game towards that one.
Owner from Chess24, question for Ian. What is it you're doing in the back room?
Sitting on sofa basically and watching, the screen. So, it reminds me of playing during the quarantine times. Yeah, it's very similar. You sit in front of your screen and you try to think. So maybe it's even more familiar right now than, playing regularly out of the board.
Because of the pandemic and playing so much online?
Yeah, I mean, okay, it became already at some point a habit.
Okay, thank you.
Nicholas from Aftenposten. I have a question for Magnus. The United Arab Emirates is often criticized for its human rights records. Did you have any concerns before agreeing to play the match here?
Yeah, that's a tough question. No comment.
MyClientChess.com again. This question is from our community, and I'm going to direct it to Jan. Jan, you're at the pinnacle of a chess player's career, playing for the World Championship. But is this process fun for you?
I believe depends on the result. So once I win, it will be fun. Once not, then okay, obviously no fun at all.
Saravanan from ChessBase. Magnus, the question is for you. Today in the opening, you seem to be taking an unusually large amounts of time between the 11th and 16th moves, almost about more than 45 minutes. What happened? Was it anything to do with the preparation, remembrance, or the position?
Yeah, I was just trying to choose the way that I play, and there are some subtle differences between the choices. So that was it. But in general, I felt that it's a position where it's quite static, and yeah, there's not that much to fear.
Was it a matter of choice, choosing something, or was it a matter of remembrance? What was it?
A bit of both.
Thank you. Question for you, Jan, if you don't mind my asking. Did you manage to get a good sleep after the previous game?
Well, obviously, since I came back to hotel like a few hours later than usual, yeah, obviously it was less sleep than normally. But I mean, in general, once you are that tired, of course, you sleep well.
Thank you.
So, Jan, I'd like to ask you sort of about the opening, and before the match, would you say that the Marshall was something you were expecting?
Absolutely. So the Marshall is one of the main choices for Magnus, I think, within his career, and it's just a very decent and proved and a very fireproof choice for a match as well. So, I mean, of course, you can't rely on playing against Marshall only, yeah, but I mean, even Marshall itself, yeah, is quite a hard nut to crack.
So, based on that, would you say that with these past 4 games where, you've had some chances, but it seems like Magnus has been pretty solid, do you feel like your opinion of the Marshall has changed throughout this match?
Well, I must say that I'm getting much more than I expected out of the opening. But in general, I think so far the side which plays black pieces doesn't experience any problems after the opening. Yeah, maybe game 2 was slightly different, but it was like very, very complex.
Thank you.
Chess.com one more time. Question is for Magnus. Magnus, you're a big chess historian. You seem to recall that Karpov-Korchnoi stalemate at a moment's notice yesterday. Where would you rank your game yesterday in the pantheon of World Championship games?
Yeah, let's leave that to chess historians who are not involved in the match.
Rakesh from chess.com India. So Magnus, you're leading at the halfway stage. So going forward, will we see you find the beauty in repetition or go for it again?
I think it very much depends on the situation over the board. As talked about earlier, there's half a match left, and I don't think being 1-0 up at this point changes the strategy drastically for either player. I mean, there will come a point, but I'm not convinced that that point has yet come.
Thank you. Hi, Maria Emelianova, chess.com. I have a question for Magnus. Yesterday, when you arrived for the game, I noticed that in the car you were kind of jamming to some music. Could you share with us what you were listening to? And yeah.
I'll leave that question to the musical expert in our team, so he can answer that question at another time. I'm not the one who decides.
But you usually listen to music before the game. We just want to know how much is it important for you to have something like this before the game.
It's nice to lighten the mood. So usually we arrive a little bit earlier than we have to have at least some extra time in case there's traffic. So yeah, spending those times, spending those few minutes just listening to music or some other light-hearted banter is, I think, very healthy.
Thank you.
Hans Solbakken, NRK again, Mr. Jan Nepomniachtchi. Did you criticize that you had to play on the same day in the opening here, or was it just that, is it okay for you to play again the same day?
Yeah, I think it depends on the result. If you win, you don't normally criticize. So, but yeah, frankly, it turns out that, okay, with these 7 hours time control, I never thought about this before the match, but now, I mean, okay, I found out it's quite weird that basically you can finish your game after midnight. Yeah, that was sort of unexpected.
Was it, how was it for you today then? Were you really tired, or?
No, I mean, of course, I can't consider yesterday as a rest day, so.
Thank you.
Sagar Shah from Chessbase India. My question is to Jan. Yesterday was a very long game and also filled with a lot of ups and downs. Yet after the game you were relatively calm. You came to the press conference. Also, you know, you were answering questions quite in detail. It's very usually in World Championship press conferences we see that someone, when they lose, they do not answer so much. So how do you keep yourself mentally strong, and how are you able to do this?
But I think I'm in general mentally strong. So there is no need to, as you have said, keep.
And I have a question for Magnus, if you would answer. Every day you come to the tournament with your with your head trainer Peter Heine Nilsson and one more person. Could you tell us a bit about the other person?
No, he's Magnus is part of the team, part music expert, fashion expert, hype man. He has many different roles.
2 more questions, please.
So Magnus, you know, it's clear that there's been a pattern in your opening approach in the Caruana match, and now the match, you know, here. Both, you know, in the first match it was Sveshchikov and there was no change, and now Jan's first 4 games haven't changed at all, and this until this sort of, you know, after Castles. Why do you think both of your opponents haven't chose to deviate if you've been so solid?
I would say it's just hard in general to gain a big advantage, and you could look at it the other ways as well. Like Jan is getting like objectively slightly better positions from the opening, and how much more can you really expect? So I guess in a sense
we have a different approach. You've been deviating with E4 and D4. You know, if you're so confident and sort of, you know, why not, you know, focus on the Petrov? Why not focus on the Catalan? What's your opinion that sets it aside, where you'd like to try to poke in different aspects, and then Jan is solely focusing on the Marshall?
I would say that we have somewhat different approaches in that sense. He's playing openings where it's not so easy to put slight pressure. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why it's harder to try and poke at the, you know, in the same places every time.
Thank you.
Jan, I have one more question for you. What Magnus said, he doesn't feel that you're going to change strategy. Either player wants to change strategy right at this point. Would you agree?
But I won't tell you.
Fair enough. We have a question, the Twitter question from at FeedHS. You can tweet your questions to FeedHS in order to possibly get them answered. This one comes from Die_Wales. It's for both players. I'll start with you, Jan. There have been a lot of great World Championship matches over the years. If you could watch one match between any 2 players of any era, who would you choose?
Well, currently I'm watching my match here, so once I'm done with this, I will think.
Magnus?
Yeah, I think it would be a close race between Oh, you're not talking about a match that has happened, or?
Yeah, one that has happened. And
one that has happened. Then
actually, the question is if you watch one match between any two players.
Any two players.
Any two players, sorry.
Yeah, okay. I'll just answer the question what I thought was the question, which is which match in the past. Then it would be a close race, probably Kasparov Karpov from Seville, closely followed by Aljechin Capablanca from Buenos Aires.
Could you elaborate on why those two are your favorites?
Those two are awesome. Very tightly contested, with great ideas between clearly the best players of their time.
All right, well, we have two of the greatest players of our time here. Tomorrow will be the next game, game 8, and Magnus will have the white pieces. It will be at 16:30 at the Dubai Exhibition Center. Thank you very much. This concludes the press conference. See you tomorrow. Have a great night.
So we just seen the press conference of the World Championship after Game 7. Well, we've seen both players. They made a draw. They want to go back and really focus on tomorrow's game, because today actually they had 2 games, because they finished just very early hours of today the very tiring long game, which was more than 7.5 hours. And of course we see how painful it was for Jan. He sees that he had some chances and for some reason he just misplayed it, and it still hurts him quite heavily. What do you expect, Anish, for tomorrow? We are cross the half line of the World Championship match. What do you expect from Magnus tomorrow with white?
Yeah, to come back to what you said about the press conference, I think the main revelation we heard today was that Jan simply had a blind spot about the b4 pawn. That is, of course, that hurts. Of course, you don't want to have blind spots in games. It's important, and that's a pity for him, because it's one thing if it always feels worse when you just don't see something, rather than when you see the move and then you see some problem down the line which is not correct. But okay, at least you went through the whole thinking process. But when you miss the very first move, it feels unpleasant. So I think he was quite annoyed about that. As for tomorrow, yeah, I mean, there are openings, there are different things, but at the end of the day, oftentimes when both players have reasons to be okay with the draw, it somehow appears. So that's the most likely thing, I think, tomorrow. Magnus is leading. He has the white pieces. It's been tough 2 games. He's already thrilled to be leading. I mean, he was making draws without leading. Now he can make draws with leading. So, and Jan is black. It's early to rock the boat with black pieces, and he has plenty of opportunities to strike later. So I think both players are interested in the draw, and Magnus will probably play. I think he will play something which is not too exciting, with just 2 results at stake, something very solid. But Jan has so well prepared that I don't think that Magnus will pose much problems. But we'll see. Maybe I'll be wrong, and tomorrow will be also very exciting.
Well, thank you very much for our audience to follow and be with us today following the game number 7. Now we are crossing to the second part of the World Championship match, and every game is going to be in some ways extra exciting, because Jan has to equalize first if he wants to win the World Championship match. He has to win another game, so he has to win 2 games in order to win the World Championship match. Thanks very much, Anish, and we hope to see you tomorrow. We are going to be waiting here in the deep dive broadcast, and we want to learn chess, teach chess, and enjoy chess. So see you tomorrow, Anish and everybody.
Welcome to the new Chess24 playing experience. Play in light mode or dark mode. Choose from a range of time controls or create a custom game, and get paired with players from around the world fast. Enjoy a polished playing experience while making moves on a fresh, responsive board to claim your victories. Train and improve with over 80,000 puzzles. And that's not all. Download now and discover what more you can enjoy in our brand new app.
Okay, so let's send a challenge.
is challenging. Nice graphics, easy to see. Oh, what are you thinking about? You're looking how it can be the most painful?
Exactly. Okay, fine.
That I give him up a phone. He wants to be even rude.
Hi, and welcome everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Over 200 mini videos that our Chessable team edited together, synced with our move trainer, and made it a seamless learning experience.
Today, more than ever, when the world comes together to create a better tomorrow.
It's going to be magic.
La magie. Magic. Magic with music.
With architecture.
With colors.
Magic with celebration.
With your safety.
From here.
There.
And everywhere.
For 6 whole months, day and night.
Join the making of a new world starting October 1st.